How long did it take to indict that officer?
About 5 hot seconds.
Right. We're going to talk to Bob Milan, who's the former first assistant to the Cook County State's Attorney under Devine, longtime prosecutor there, felony review. We're going to talk to him in the 7 o'clock hour. And I think he's going to tell you that there's no way an investigation like this, once you have the videotape, should take as long as it did. It was purposeful. It was slow-walked. Who's the main beneficiary? Rahm Emanuel.
So do you think you're gonna... there's groups now calling for his head on a plate, and they want him.
Yes, there's an 11 o'clock rally.
Yep, yeah. At City Hall today, 11 a.m. Be there if you want him to step down or try to get him to step down. But
well, it's nice to see the parade forming behind me. I've been calling for him to resign since about the spring of 11. Just like the same thing with McCarthy.
But I was never. You were calling for McCarthy's resignation? I mean, I've been gone the past 2 days, but I feel like I haven't left Chicago because every time you turn on the TV in Arizona or St. Louis, they're talking about Chicago, Chicago, Chicago.
Oh, I've been calling for McCarthy to resign for years, not just since the Laquan McDonald video.
4 years, 7 months, and he's been a police officer since he was 22 years old, highly decorated in Newark, New Jersey, and then came here. And the cops that I know like him.
The cops that I know don't. You think police morale was low under Jody Weiss?
He lasted longer than Jody Weiss, and he lasted longer than Phil Klein.
Yeah, I don't think morale is higher today than it was previously. And here's the other thing: forget the Laquan McDonald case for just a second.
Okay.
Gary McCarthy. This is somebody who refers to the unbelievable incidents of violent crime in the streets of Chicago, the murders just a couple of years ago. They're going to be bumps in the road. Bumps in the road. That's how you refer to people being gunned down in the streets. Then he said, within the last several months, look, I could arrest a million people or some number.
Yeah.
I'm directionally correct. I don't know if you use the word a number. But I could keep arresting people for guns, and it's not going to make any difference. Okay, well, so if you've given up, then leave and get out. And you should have been never hired. You should have never been hired in the first place. You should have been fired much earlier. The idea that this ends with Gary McCarthy and this blue ribbon commission that Rahm put together is a joke. And let me tell you something else. Well, I'll put the question out there, but I'll give you my opinion, too. Do you think Anita Alvarez is a dead woman walking politically?
Yeah. And yesterday, her
biggest one way or the other.
Biggest ally, Luis Gutierrez, withdrew his endorsement from Anita.
It was very difficult for me. I anguished. It was a very difficult decision. I think the world of Anita Alvarez on a personal level, but I think she let Laquan McDonald down. That indictment should not have happened last week. It should have happened 13 months ago.
And Anita found out that he was withdrawing his endorsement while he was saying it. He didn't call her or write her an email or text her and say, hey, look, to give her a heads up. That's what I found out yesterday. He just dropped her.
You know what's great about this, the silver lining, is everybody is saying, I hope they're saying, what sniveling, snake-like cowards the Chicago Democrat power structure is. Silent for 13 months. Nothing to say and nothing to see here. Go along, get along. Standing on daises with Rahm is reelect. Yay. And now that the parade has formed and that the zeitgeist has changed in a different direction, now they're repeating, the talking points of, frankly, some of the protesters, people like me, right-wing, crazy, lunatic conservatives, as they would term me. It's just fascinating to see. You look at Luis Gutierrez. What do you see? I see.
He's scared. He wants to be behind the right candidate, and Anita Alvarez is wrong. She's the one who should have lost her job, not Gary McCarthy.
They all should lose their jobs. And what they are is just a kind of a bunch of jellyfish bobbing up and down, just being pushed whichever way the tide is flowing. That's what they are.
I know, but did you watch that press conference yesterday? Rahm Emanuel looked pathetic. He was almost sad that he was throwing his friend under the bus, but he had to do it to try and save himself.
You know what else I think? I think he needs to put call to old Uncle Joe and maybe get the name of the guy who planted that alfalfa field in Joe's forehead there over his frontal cortex, because I think Rahm is losing his hair. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
No, not a
I'm
good
very
look.
concerned about Tiny Dancer. That does not play well in the arts community, that look that he's got going. Here's something else. Lisa Madigan, speaking of leading,
wrote a letter to
leading
Loretta
from
Lynch.
behind.
Yes.
Lisa Madigan, she technically, I don't know if people remember this, She is the chief law enforcement officer of this state.
Right. Number one attorney. Right. Yeah.
I mean, is the Attorney General's office a vestigial office now? Do we even need it?
Well, she penned a letter to Loretta Lynch yesterday saying we'd like a Department of Justice investigation.
Oh, yeah. No,
immediately.
She's a gas. I mean, it's been more than a week since the video.
Yeah. Well, Rahm's been gone for a week, Thanksgiving. She's been gone celebrating Thanksgiving. Everyone's back now. That's why everything happened yesterday.
Oh.
The letter to the DOJ, the firing of Gary McCarthy, which, by the way, he asked him to resign first, I found out. Because they don't like to fire people. They want him to resign to make it easier on themselves.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Gary McCarthy stood up and didn't do it.
Window or the stairs.
Yeah.
Lisa Madigan, what is it exactly that you do? I don't know what she does.
She checks baby toys and makes sure my kids don't choke on them.
Yeah, baby bumpers. Greg and Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Okay, now I'm not totally dialed into this story like I should because I've been away too. So this is a question to both you, Amy, and to Dan. But starting with Lisa Madigan, going all the way down the scale, if there was $5 million paid out on this thing before an election and before there's even a grand jury situation involved in it, why are they not involved in something illegal? And if they get off, why is Blago in jail for not having accepted a dime?
Thanks for the call, Greg.
I mean, Rahm said he never saw the video, but how do you prove the city council to pay out $5 million? I'd hope that he'd be a better steward of our taxpayer money by looking at the video first. He said he saw the video when we saw it, but yet he agreed to pay them $5 million. It's all. This is what Hollywood scripts are made of.
This was importantly. This is before a wrongful death suit, before a civil complaint. Forget the indictment. Before even a civil complaint was filed. The Laquan McDonald, too, family not exactly involved in his life. He was a ward of the state.
He lived with his uncle. They had to physically go find his mother.
The $5 million, I don't know that there's technically anything illegal about that. You can preemptively settle. There's nothing technically illegal about it, but that whole piece of this case is interesting. Who ordered it? Who was the emissary that was sent to the family to negotiate that deal? These are some of the myriad unanswered questions in the case that suggest that this doesn't end with Gary McCarthy and it's not going to be remedied by that blue ribbon commission.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
The new task force, Deval Patrick's going to be the small forward on the team. They're going to present 3 candidates to the mayor, and he'll decide who's the next police chief. Weather
David
for
Clark.
today. Oh, yeah. That's a good, you know what? Good idea. Weather forecast for today. It is going to be snowy this morning. Rain near the lakefront, but snow out in the suburbs. Just a coating to an inch and a high of 38 degrees. Let's get the travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Good morning, Amy. Welcome back. Good morning, Dan. There are a couple of fires going. One on the south side, 51st Place near Holstead, the 900 block of West 51st Place. Then in Pilsen, firefighters have extinguished a blaze. 18th near Laughlin. However, 18th Street remains closed there. A crash in Lyons, 1st Avenue at 47th Street. Inbound Rhine slows Cermak into downtown. It's about a 3-minute delay. Ramps to the Stevenson and to the Chinatown feeder, those have reopened for a major overnight crash in the area. Tollway's still looking good. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans. Call Quicken Loans now to see if you qualify for the government's Home Affordable Refinance Program, or HARP. And for 6 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And for the 2nd year in a row, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. Call 800-QUICKEN or visit QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLSConsumerAccess.org. Number 3030.
I had fantastic results with the Andro 400 Max. Probably lost 35 pounds. And more impressive than that was the inches I lost off of my belly and my waist. And the increased energy is fantastic.
Andro 400 Max, the best all-natural testosterone booster. Gain energy, lose belly fat. Go to andro400.com or call 888-400-0435. 888-400-0435.
Having a great smile to show off makes you feel good. There's no embarrassment associated with being able to flash your pearly whites whenever you want. If you'd like to feel that comfort and confidence with your smile, there's only one person who can help you. Dr. Neruzzi of Fox River Periodontics.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one. I was happy with it. So I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth, and they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. He'll be happy you did, and Fox River Periodontics.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
I don't care what your mama says. Christmas time.
Dan and Amy.
Hey.
Amy, why don't you, since you've missed the last 2 days, why don't you tell us why we should feed children?
Well, feeding the children, for 7 years now, we've partnered with Feed the Children to help raise money. And what I love about Feed the Children is what's raised here stays here. Feed the Children, the money that's raised goes directly to provide food and resources for organizations in the Chicagoland area. And again, what's raised here stays here. And what we're asking for is a one-time donation of $76 that will help feed 16 hungry children this holiday season.
And in terms of how they are fed, specifically, what does your money go to purchase? Each family receives a 25-pound box. What's in the box? I'm glad you asked.
Wait, did you get that drop in?
Yeah,
What's in the box?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, is that already old now?
Yeah.
God, I'm so Wednesday. That was Monday.
You just broke the third wall.
Oh, what's in the box?
See, it's there. I'm glad you asked, officer. It's filled with non-perishable items like canned goods, peanut butter, pasta, cereals, maybe a head of lettuce. The box supplements the food intake for a family for 1 week. They also receive a 10-pound box.
Ooh, that's nice.
Did you say what's in the box?
Oh, what's in the box?
Of essentials filled with personal items like toiletries and cleaning supplies.
And this is, I know we're joking around, but it is a serious problem. 1 in 5 American children face the prospect of hunger on a regular basis. And a lot of these shelters feed into our school, Blaine, and it's pretty hard when you see kids. I know I made lunch for one student who didn't have food. I made lunch for him for almost a year because I volunteered at the school in the lunchroom and got their family hooked up with a pantry so that I didn't have to make them lunches anymore. But that pantry was supplied food by Feed the Children. So, hunger doesn't take a holiday. $76, that's all we're asking for. You can help feed 16 hungry children this holiday season. Maybe you had a great year, successful year at work, and $76 would mean so much to all those kids who go to bed hungry.
So there's 2 ways to do it. First, you can make a contribution of that $76 that Amy referenced, or any amount, to Feed the Children by calling 866-435-2248 or by visiting our website, 560theanswer.com, and searching the keyword feed. Or, lastly, by opening the AM 560 mobile app and just tapping on the button that says Help Feed Chicago's Hungry Children.
And the other way you can help, listen up, if you're a small business owner, if you do marketing for your company, our business benefactor program, it's a great, great offer. If you make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation as a way of saying thanks to you, we will give you, for free, 40 60-second spots that will run Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. right here on AM 560, The Answer. If you want to get involved in this program, please call our sales manager, Michael Mann, directly at this number. Ready? 847-871-1527. Again, that's 847-871-1527. Nowhere in the Chicagoland area could you get a deal like this on the radio, $2,500 for 40 60-second commercials. And you'll be helping to feed the children, but you can also help introduce your products to the masses. So again, that number, 847-871-1527, and his name is Michael Mann.
Oh, what's in the box?
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
A holiday event for the whole family. Celebrate the holidays with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra's Merry Merry Chicago from December 18th through the 23rd at Symphony Center. Join the merry musicians of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra for this magical event, featuring special guests, the Von Trapps. This joyous celebration will include treasured carols, sing-along holiday favorites, including Christmas in Chicago, and a visit by a very special guest from the North Pole. Don't miss this holiday spectacular, December 18th through the 23rd at Symphony Center. For tickets, visit cso.org/holidays. That's cso.org/holidays.
Looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, then you need to do what Amy did when she needed a mortgage, and that's called David Hochberg at Pearl Mortgage. Susan, wow, it's very encouraging. The Hochberg cheerleaders. Susan called for reverse mortgage information on behalf of her 80-year-old father who owns a $400,000 home free and clear and earns $80,000 a year. David answered Susan's questions and explained the benefits of reverse mortgages. David then advised Susan to secure a HELOC instead of a reverse mortgage because it was her father's best option. All the other reverse mortgage experts Susan spoke with tried hotboxing Susan's father into doing a reverse mortgage, while David told her a HELOC was a better option for her father at this time. If your family is interested in a reverse mortgage and you want to talk to a lender that will always look out for your family's financial best interest, do what Amy did and Susan did. Call David, 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Or visit am560david.com. That's am560david.com. David's helped Amy and Susan and thousands of AM560 listeners, but he can't help you if you don't call. So call David, 312-751-1333. That number, 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA NMLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com/licensing.
AM560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff says ISIS is not contained. Boy, is that young man in trouble when Daddy Obama gets back from Paris.
Oh, and Rahm Emanuel might have to cancel his Paris trip because of what's going on here. Poor baby. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Clouds, snow, 37, and the British Parliament in full debate at this hour. They're expecting to vote on whether that country will join the international coalition engaging in airstrikes against ISIS in Syria. It's a demand wanted by Prime Minister David Cameron. Defense Secretary Ash Carter says the U.S. is deploying specialized targeting forces, helping local forces combat ISIS in Iraq and Syria.
It will help us garner valuable ground intelligence, further enhance our air campaign, and above all, enable local forces that can regain and then hold territory occupied by ISIL.
There are indications a jury could be seated in Baltimore in the first Freddie Gray trial as soon as today. Lawyer Adam Ruther says the judge in this case usually has a firm control of proceedings.
Typically, the way Judge Williams does it is he asks the questions. One party or the other, or the judge on his own, could make a motion to strike that juror for cause. This juror has admitted to us under oath that they cannot be fair and impartial.
The judge, prosecutors, and defense attorneys in the case have spent 2 days trying to pick a panel to hear that case against William Porter. A recall based on the E. coli scare that began with chicken salad sold at Costco stores is spreading. The FDA has expanded that recall to a dozen states and now includes products sold at Walmart, Sam's Club, Safeways, Albertsons, 7-Eleven, and Target. Brace yourself for the snow this morning. It could be heavy during the morning commute. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel names an interim police chief until a permanent replacement is found for the fired police superintendent Gary McCarthy. Chief of Detectives John Escalante will take over. A 21-year-old accused of threatening to kill white students or staffers at the University of Chicago is out of jail this morning. Federal judge agreeing to put Jabari Dean under house arrest and in the custody of his mother. And it turns out Paul Ryan would be the first speaker to sport a beard in 90 years. Ryan returning from Thanksgiving sporting the early stages of a beard, posting it on Instagram. However, on the Post, he says he's the first speaker to sport a beard in about 100 years. Not exactly speaker. Frederick Gillette in 1925 was the last speaker to have a beard. Ryan off by a hair. Chicago sports. Minnesota beat the Blackhawks 2-1 last night. College hoops, Delaware over Bradley. Northwestern beat Vatech, and Eastern Illinois a win over Indiana State. The news, a service of Boys and Girls Clubs of America. It's 3 p.m. School's out for America's kids, and when school's out, clubs are in. It's time to support Boys and Girls Clubs. Visit greatfutures.org. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity says don't be fooled by climate change.
Not global cooling, not global warming, climate change, because that encompasses everything, no matter what happens. If it rains, climate change. It doesn't rain, climate change. Everything. Snows, climate change. No snow, climate change. Hot, climate change. Cold, climate change. We call it weather.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Stop into your nearest Lowe's store today and see why their newest wet-dry vac is clearly different. Shop Vac, genuine American original.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, nothing frustrates me more than liberal hypocrisy. Take our food, for example. You know, the left claims to care about the poor and the environment, but guess what? They're waging a silent war against America's farmers that is making our food supply more costly and less sustainable. America's family farmers are producing more food using less land and fewer resources than ever before. Now, they should be cheered, but instead, radical groups are working with government bureaucrats to crack down on our farmers and limit the tools and technology that they're allowed to use. Now, the result is higher food costs for you, the American consumer, and low-income families, they're hit the hardest. Now, thankfully, someone is fighting back. Protect the Harvest is a national coalition working to defend modern American agriculture. You can check them out at protecttheharvest.com and follow them on Facebook to get the very latest news and see how you can help. Don't let radical activists control your family's food choices. Visit protecttheharvest.com today.
536 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Speeds and visibilities are reduced due to the snow. See no significant delays due to light traffic volume on the Eden. Same goes for the Kennedy right now. The Eisenhower, okay at the moment, starting to build past Manheim. Mount Stevenson, slow Pulaski to Kedzie, and heavy on the ramp to the inbound Ryan. 36 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 34. The Ryan has a 5-minute delay coming into downtown. Outbound the entrance from 59th Street is closed with work till 6 a.m. I-57 already 21 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop 422 with delays starting at 115th. Outbound slow from King Drive to 103rd with a crash in the right lane. Traffic is a service of Mothers Against Drunk Driving. For victims of drunk and drugged driving, their grief is unique, but you're not alone. MAD is here to help. Call their 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Snow showers this morning, high of 38 later today. It is 33 right now. Next news at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Radio Garden Sense, a show bringing your property's gardening needs alive. Radio Garden Sense, Sunday mornings at 11 on AM 560, The Answer.
Hey, before you read about it on Facebook or Twitter, well, hear about it from your friends. Find out what today's big stories really mean with me, Sean Hannity, today at 2, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, the good news about President Obama, the sand running out on his presidency, his lame duck status, that the good news is that more individuals in the administration are speaking what they know to be true, where I'm not so sure that was the case. Maybe the quality of personnel in narrow areas like Ash Carter at Defense and like the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Marine General Joseph Dunford. They're speaking truth about what they know, particularly as it relates to national security issues, which is their forte. Before House Armed Services Committee hearing yesterday, the question was put to Marine General Joseph Dunford, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, about whether ISIS has been contained, because that's what President Obama said in advance of the Paris attacks. He begs to differ.
So if we're effectively not at war, let me ask you this. Have we currently contained ISIL?
We have not contained ISIL.
Have they been contained at any time since 2010?
Tactically, in areas they have been. Strategically, they have spread since 2010.
Uh-oh.
Ruh-roh.
You just wait. As I said,
that doesn't fit our narrative.
You wait until he gets home from that junk science fair. You are going to be in trouble, young Marine General, Joint Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It was really a fascinating hearing with the two of them. It featured Ash Carter and General Dunford. The other thing that happened there, Tulsi Gabbard, remember, she's the one Democrat in Congress that kind of has her head screwed on straight.
Yeah.
A representative from Hawaii, served our country honorably in Iraq. She, in questioning with Ash Carter, talked about kind of where the dangers are with Russia. You heard Mike Scott talking about it. News breaking last night into today that at least 200 troops will be sent into Iraq in the coming weeks. These are special ops forces that will be sent to Iraq to target ISIS leaders specifically.
Yeah, and sometimes they'll be working with Kurdish forces, but sometimes then they're going to be carrying out missions alone inside Syria.
Well,
that's what
special forces do. In addition to that, you have Britain looking at initiating a bombing campaign against ISIS in Syria specifically, getting some resistance from the Labour Party, but that's a pending matter. But Tulsi Gabbard, going back to her in her discussion with Ash Carter, she said Russia's installation of their anti-aircraft missile defense system increases the possibility, whether it's intentional or even an accidental event, where one side may shoot down the other side's plane, a la what happened between Turkey and Russia. And that's really where the potential is for this devastating nuclear war. She is worried that this could quickly escalate, probably some kind of implicit statement about the quality of leadership from the regime, our regime, not Russia's, well, both actually, that this could escalate quickly because there's no real stop on Putin. Ash Carter tried to downplay that, understandably, saying that the deal with Russia is more of a diplomatic problem than a military one. But I think Gabbard raises a legitimate concern about a military confrontation with Russia, despite the fact that after Turkey shot down that Russian plane that was in their airspace, had every right to defend themselves. They're a NATO country, by the way.
Yeah, but did we give them the flight plan? That's what Putin was saying, that America intelligence ops gave Turkey Russia's flight plan.
No, it's immaterial. I mean, it's just silliness. That's propaganda for the homeland. They were warned 10 times.
Right. They were warned.
So whether you had the flight plan or not, when you're warned to evacuate Turkish airspace, then you evacuate Turkish airspace or suffer the consequences. And whatever challenges we have with the Erdogan regime in Turkey, and there are some, the bottom line is they're a NATO ally. And it's interesting because this could be an opportunity for Russia to test the paper tiger that is NATO because of the weakness of Obama's leadership in the world, and by extension, America's leadership in the world at present. But he's a little busy in Syria at the moment. So it's a legitimate concern that Gabbard raises, and it's nice to get a little honesty from the Joint Chiefs of Staff chairman about just what's happened with ISIS. Tactically, they've been contained during the last 5 years at some point in some areas. Strategically, they've expanded. The bottom line, they haven't been contained. They've expanded.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Here's your forecast for today. Some snow showers this morning, rain near the lakefront, anywhere from a dusting to an inch, depending on where you live. A high of 38 degrees, and we're going to have some flurries this afternoon. Then tomorrow, becoming partly sunny, a little bit warmer, a high of 41. I'm sure the slick roads are wreaking havoc on the roadways. Here's Jim Talamonte with all the details.
Definitely, Amy, and there's a significant accumulation already, especially in McHenry and DeKalb counties. Seeing delays on the inbound Eisenhower, Mannheim to Harlem. Just 2 or 3 minutes slowdown for now. Outbound, a brief delay, Harlem to Des Plaines Avenue. Stevenson, slow from before Pulaski to Kedzie, also approaching the Rhine and Lakeshore Drive. 36 minutes, 3:55 to the drive. Inbound Rhine on the Express at 31st. Crash reported in the left lane. 22 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both about 22 minutes from I-80 to the Merge. Eden, Kennedy still looking good. Tollway still pretty light. There's a fire on the south side. 900 block of 51st Place, not far from Halstead. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
Too high. Your property taxes are too high. Illinois has the second highest property tax rate in the country, a burden that unfairly penalizes people like you. Why does Illinois have the second highest property tax rate in the country? Because elected officials spend too much money. Year after year, lawmakers promise to freeze the property tax rate. They make false promises at election time and fail to get the job done. The result? Property tax rates go up and up. It's time to force the politicians to keep their promise to voters. Join Americans for Prosperity in the fight to freeze property taxes. Go to afpil.org to start a tax freeze petition in your community. Go to afpil.org to put the brakes on runaway property taxes. If you're sick and tired of ever increasing property taxes, do something about it. Go to afpil.org, paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Your audiovisual experience is one that's supposed to be enjoyable. If your home or office lacks the big-time performance you really need, it's time to be shocked with options from Sound Design. Sound Design has the technical background to build it all. They know the value of seeing a project through to the end, and Sound Design will stick with you until you're satisfied, even post-job. Home theaters, office video, and Sound Design. Sure, you can go order equipment from a big box store, but then what? Yikes. Sound Design knows they set the industry standard. This is a company that will take a potential new customer to a current customer space to show off their handiwork. That's why people rave about audio and visual solutions from Sound Design. Be sure to get a demo of the Bang & Olufsen speakers, where sophisticated, sleek design meets amazing sound and function. You can visit sounddesigninc.com, but if you really want expert answers to your questions, call 630-548-7000. That's 630-548-7000. Sound Design, where quality service and installation makes the difference.
Does holiday shopping in stores increase your risk of identity theft? Yes. Shopping puts personal information out there, and big retailers have been breached. Does shopping online increase risk? Yes. Online shopping leaves a trail of personal information behind. Does giving fruitcake as a gift increase risk? No. It's not very original, and the fruitcake may never get eaten, but it won't increase risk. Holiday shopping and using Wi-Fi over an eggnog latte at the coffee shop will. That's why LifeLock does more than free credit monitoring services to protect you from identity theft. We have proprietary technology to detect a range of threats. And if you have an identity problem, we have a U.S.-based team of specialists who work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor transactions at every business. But with LifeLock, you can shop till you drop and feel better protected, even if you do buy the fruitcake again. Right now, enjoy 10% off your membership as our gift to you. Go to LifeLock.com and enter promo code NEWS.
AM 560, The Answer.
The holidays are upon us, and we want to remind you here at AM 560, The Answer, that 1 in 5 children, 1 in 5 kids goes to bed hungry every night, and we want to help out. We're partnering once again, for the 7th year now with Feed the Children to help raise money so we can feed families in need, families who are affected by poverty, natural disasters, famine. The function of Feed the Children is to deliver the donated good foods, medicine, Cindy items to local shelters and community organizations. And we have a way for you to help out. We're asking for a one-time donation of $76, but if you can only give $5 or $10, that's fine. You can call this number, 866-435-2248. Again, that number, 866-435-2248. A one-time donation of just $76 will help feed 16 hungry children this holiday season.
I feel like we should have Charo or something. Come on, so I feel like a little Jerry Lewis. Like this is a little telethon-ish.
This is. It's,
yeah, and we should have some acts. Coochie. Another way you can give. This is for our generous small and mid-sized business owners or anyone who markets a business. And this is similar to what we did with a golf outing, where you had a bunch of business benefactors that supported the golf outing we did over the summer, and a portion of the proceeds that were raised went to Deb Rickards' Operation Support Our Troops to help military families in Chicago. So this is kind of the same idea, help Chicago families who are in need over the holidays. This is our business benefactor program, and with this program, any business that makes a $2,500 tax-deductible donation.
Tax deductible. Hello.
Yes. Tax deductible.
Yes.
Very important.
It is very important.
Right. They will receive 40 60-second spots between Monday through Friday, between the hours of 5 a.m. and 8 p.m., so prime time broadcasting hours, right here on AM 560. So for the business that wants to be involved in the business benefactor program.
Where do I call? Who do I call, and what's the number?
You call the man responsible for giving us Miami Vice before he got into radio, Michael Mann. Directly, you call him directly at 847-871-1527. You talk about whether you like Rico or Tubbs more. And just ask him for the business benefactor program. It'll get you enrolled. Or you can just visit the website, 560theanswer.com, search the keyword feed, or just text the word feed to our turnkey.pro text line, 64636. Any one of those ways, and you get rolled into the program. And as we have for the last 7 years, relying on your generosity, so kind of the help us, help feed Chicago families in need during the holidays.
And when you think about it, there's nowhere in Chicagoland radio that you could get 40 60-second spots for just $2,500. You can help the needy as well as helping your business get noticed. You'll expand your customer base. Plus, I don't know if you know this, but Dan or I, we can voice your commercials if you would like. So again, call Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527. Again, 847-871-1527. 1527. Spots are filling up quickly, so do it now.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper. Hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
12 days of Christmas? Not likely. At Tasty Catering, their chefs have been cooking up brand new winter menu items all year long. So when the temperature drops and you start humming holiday jingles, they're ready to serve you the best holiday party catering feast around.
The highly anticipated Tasty Catering holiday menus are already available online for you to browse. And what's more, the Tasty Catering staff is ready to use their award-winning service to get you into the holiday spirit.
Holiday party planners from companies throughout Chicagoland, from downtown to the far suburbs. Tasty Catering invites you to their kitchens to taste some delicious holiday menu items. Then, let their friendly team help you plan the most successful holiday party yet.
Don't wait. Call them today at 847-593-2000 or visit tastycatering.com to schedule a holiday lunch date on them.
Visit tastycatering.com now. Full menus are online, and their staff has an invitation waiting for you to come and sample.
tastycatering.com, 847-593-2000.
You've heard me talking about the new website, upstream-ideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, then you're missing thoughtful expository content you won't find anywhere else from those who've operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current. That's our long-form interview series with policymakers and opinion leaders. Today, we'll post Against the Current edition featuring Maze Jackson, the political editor of the Chicago Defender and a WVON political commentator. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. This week, the number 97, timely with a December 9th strike vote set by the Chicago Teachers Union. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising program, which tackles state and local politics and policy with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and Illinois Opportunity Project. The last Sunday's program posted on Upstream Ideas, as is an interview we did yesterday with Patrick Moore, a co-founder of Greenpeace, on the Paris Climate Change Conference. So you want to check those out. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view are heard that are not heard anywhere else. No sacred cows, no punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
This segment.
This segment.
That's what's coming up.
I'm a little foggy.
DiCaprio, you're probably thinking about movies to take Peyton and Eli to during the holidays.
Oh, yeah. We already saw Mockingjay 2. Did you see it, by the way?
No, I have not seen it yet.
Will you please go see that movie so we can discuss it?
Yeah, so, right.
Right, we can break it down.
Save the aisle seats for us. The movie, The Revenant. Revenant, yeah. This is featuring Leonardo DiCaprio. You've probably seen the trailers. Have you seen the trailers?
I have, and something about a bear and...
Yeah, well, apparently this was...
His face was all bloodied and swollen.
This was reported by none other than Drudge yesterday, that there is...
You stop it.
There is a rather graphic moment or two in The Revenant.
Yes.
You know what The Revenant means? What that is? It's someone who returns. Notably,
like incarceration?
No.
I mean, not incarceration, incarnation.
Someone who comes back from the dead, sort of. Yes.
Okay.
So this is a story of rural survivalism and revenge, and massacring the English language. Apparently, is part of it. But in addition to that,
yes,
apparently, it's alleged.
I know. We'll
by
just
Drudge
get to it. It's so disgusting.
That
bestiality.
DiCaprio gets raped by a bear.
So that's one of the scenes in the movies, or are there two violations going on?
There was reportedly twice. Now, the studio is denying that. But, boy, I don't know. I mean, DiCaprio then rips open a horse and sleeps naked in its carcass. So you have that to look forward to. I don't know if that's
this
pre
takes
or
wild
post
to a whole new level.
Bear rape. But apparently Stephen Colbert is right that these bears are merciless killing machines.
Get your paws off me.
Squeal! Squeal!
Hey, if your company manufactures or markets pharmaceuticals, biologics, medical devices, or APIs, you know the challenges of systems integration, FDA compliance, and staffing. To gain access to Chicagoland's top life sciences engineering, quality assurance, project management, regulatory, software, and validation professionals, you need the experts at Automated Systems, Inc. All of ASI's resources are degreed professionals with decades of industry experience in manufacturing, automation, and FDA compliance. ASI is retained by all of Chicagoland's Fortune 500 life science companies to successful startups. For over a quarter of a century, ASI has excelled through a culture of execution and client success. For information about staffing or a no-obligation compliance or automation evaluation, call Laz at Automated Systems toll-free at 844-HIRE-ASI or visit AutomatedSYS.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI.
Fact! Approximately 60% of all residential properties in Cook County are overassessed and paying way too much in property taxes. Here's the good news. If you live anywhere in Cook County, Chicago, or the burbs, now there's a way to find out in 60 seconds or less if you're one of the 60% that's overpaying. IAppealPropertyTax.com will give you your estimated savings without cost or obligation. If you decide to appeal your taxes, IAppealPropertyTax.com handles the entire process for a modest flat fee depending on your actual tax savings. IAppealPropertyTax.com has an 85% success rate once the appeal is filed. And if your appeal isn't successful, it costs you $0. So if you're a Cook County property owner and even suspect your taxes are too high, visit IAppealPropertyTax.com. That's IAppealPropertyTax.com. Do it now. You've got nothing to lose and potentially a lot to save. IAppealPropertyTax.com.
Having a great smile to show off makes you feel good. There's no embarrassment associated with being able to flash your pearly whites whenever you want. If you'd like to feel that comfort and confidence with your smile, there's only one person who can help you. Dr. Neruzzi of Fox River Periodontics.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one. I was happy with it. So I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth, and they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. He'll be happy you did, and Fox River Periodontics.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to the Reverend who's organizing the Rahm Must Go rally that takes place at 11 a.m. on the 5th floor of City Hall this morning. That's at 6:06.
And later, the George will be joining us from the Washington Post. And Chicago's top cop is out, but what does Jason Van Dyke think of this? His attorney joins us at 8:08. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're watching today. Early morning snow will affect your commute. Mayor Rahm Emanuel fires Gary McCarthy over the Laquan McDonald shooting, and a first deputy will take the reins of the Chicago Police Department. Meantime, Illinois' Attorney General wants a federal probe of Chicago police. A budget summit produces no spending plan, but talks continue. Minnesota clipped the Blackhawks while the Bulls host the Nuggets later tonight. Complete look at your weather forecast after Fox News. WIND Chicago News Time, 6 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. The U.S. is sending more special ops forces to Iraq. A U.S. official telling Fox News about 200 troops able to conduct raids, free hostages, and target ISIS leaders.
You don't know at night who's going to be coming in the window. And that's the sensation that we want all of ISIL's leadership and followers to have.
The defense chief's announcement at a House hearing prompting a testy reaction from Iraq's prime minister, saying any foreign deployment needs their full approval.
The government of Iraq was, of course, briefed in advance of Secretary Carter's announcement.
Secretary of State John Kerry pledging full cooperation with Iraqi partners. British lawmakers now debating airstrikes in Syria. Fox News Radio's Simon Owen live in London.
Lisa, Parliament here beginning a 10-hour debate.
Order!
Lawmakers discussing whether Britain should expand its involvement in the US-led coalition looking to counter ISIS. Right now, British planes only attack targets in Iraq. Prime Minister David Cameron wants to change that.
The question before the House today is how we keep the British people safe from the threat posed by ISIL.
Lawmakers are expected to vote in favour of expanded airstrikes. Lisa?
Thanks, Simon. A surge in the new presidential poll just out. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Donald Trump remains the undisputed leader in the Republican race for president with 27% support, according to a brand new national Quinnipiac University poll. Marco Rubio's campaign is seeing strong momentum. The Florida senator now in second place with 17%. Ben Carson, who was in a virtual tie with Trump a month ago, is now tied with Senator Ted Cruz for third place with each 16% support. Jeb Bush has 5%. On the Democratic side, the Quinnipiac poll shows Hillary Clinton with a 30-point lead over Senator Bernie Sanders. Lisa.
Thanks, Rachel. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
33 degrees, snow showers at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Brace yourself for that snow. Cooler temps, rain turning to snow across the Chicagoland area. That snow could be heavy during the morning commute. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel names an interim police chief until a permanent replacement is found for the superintendent he fired. Chief of Detectives John Escalante will oversee the department in the interim after the mayor pulled the trigger and fired Superintendent Gary McCarthy yesterday, saying he'd lost support of the community in the wake of the police shooting of Laquan McDonald. AM 560's David Stewart picks up the story from there.
After praising McCarthy for the progress he did make, Mayor Emanuel said there are two key questions.
First, was this specific investigation handled properly? The second question is how we prevent this type of incident from happening again.
But outside the mayor's office, a group of ministers, including Yahio Curry, said an independent auditor is needed under their Fair Cops ordinance.
The culture is different right now today, and so we expect that more and more aldermen will begin to sign on to the Fair Cops ordinance.
And Attorney General Lisa Madigan called on the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division to investigate the police department. David Stewart, Chicago.
The family of another man fatally shot by Chicago police in 2014 is pressing city officials to release squad car video of that shooting. Chicago police have said 25-year-old Ronald Johnson was fatally shot by an officer October 12 of 2014. Authorities say he was armed and pointed a gun at police. Family attorney Michael Oppenheimer disputes that account by Chicago police.
You can clearly see his hands in the video. He is running what I would term to be full speed straight ahead. He never turns, he never points, and there's nothing in his hand.
Oppenheimer wants the video released publicly. Governor Bruce Rauner closed the public portion of yesterday's budget summit with a forceful plea to take on what he says are the root causes of Illinois' financial woes. He continues negotiations and talks with Democrat House Speaker Mike Madigan and Senate President John Cullerton. Senator Mark Kirk will have two challengers in next year's Republican primary. Oswego's James Martyr and Elizabeth Paulke of Arlington Heights have filed the paperwork. And here in Illinois, Mitsubishi Motors has produced its last vehicle. The plant ending production of its only vehicle, the Mitsubishi Outlander Sport, ending a 30-year run as one of the state's largest employers. 900 union workers worked their last day this week. A few employees remain on the job to complete the shutdown of that plant. Vehicle production peaked in Bloomington Normal in 2000, when the plant turned out 222,000 vehicles. Chicago sports, Minnesota beat the Blackhawks 2-1. College hoops, Delaware beat Bradley. Northwestern, an ACC Big Ten Challenge win over Virginia Tech. And the news service of the Foundation for a Better Life. Many rose up with violence. He sat down for peace. Mahatma Gandhi reached out with the strength cultivated within his soul. Pass it on from the Foundation for a Better Life at values.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
I think America is dying.
The Joe Walsh Show.
Everybody came here to be free. Everybody came here to strike it out on their own. Everybody wanted government to stay out of their hair. Everybody wanted to be free. Not today. We have way too many people in America who no longer want that America.
The Joe Walsh Show. Weeknights starting at 5. Right after Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Are you living with prostate enlargement? Do you pee more often than you used to? Do you wake up to go? Be honest. Is there a drop in your romantic life? Prostate problems don't go away on their own, so you need to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, the #1 non-prescription formula for your prostate. The ingredients are natural. With Super Beta Prostate, you'll have less urges to urinate, less waking at night, and an improvement in your romantic life, guaranteed. Try it for free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-317-7593. Super Beta Prostate is so powerful, you'd have to take 100 saw palmetto capsules to get the same active ingredient in just one Super Beta Prostate tablet. Stop running to the bathroom and call us now for your free bottle. Hurry, this free offer won't last. Just call 1-800-317-7593. That's 1-800-317-7593. 1-800-317-7593.
6:06. Let's get an update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. It is snowy, especially west and northwest of Chicago. On the Edens Expressway, we're not seeing any significant slowdowns yet. Again, speeds are reduced pretty much everywhere due to the conditions. Inbound Kennedy, delays start at Sayre, 25 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. The express lanes are still fine. About 24 minutes, though, Foster to Sayre. Inbound Eisenhower, 43 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 35. Stevenson, already 52 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, 37 to the Tri-State, outbound okay. The Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 28 minutes, I-80 to the Merge, Bishop Ford, 30. Northbound Tri-State heavy at 290, eastbound Adams Tollway, jamming up Barrington to Meacham with a stall blocking the right lane. Traffic is a service of the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council. This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the aircomfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Morning snow showers followed by an afternoon flurry. High today 38, then a partly cloudy night, low 26. Tomorrow partial sunshine with a high 40 and a clear night, low 26. Then sunshine Friday, high of 45. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560 The Answer.
33 in snow at O'Hare. Next news 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show. Tune in on Saturday mornings at 8 to learn how you might fight foreclosure and keep your home.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Tonight, protesters celebrating the firing of Chicago's top cop, Gary McCarthy. Their demand for change escalated after a video showing a police officer shooting Laquan McDonald was released.
I'm grateful for his service to the city.
Yeah, I want to express my appreciation to him for making a change in leadership, but I think you have to understand that that's just the beginning.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning. What up, Dan and Amy? And Amy, nobody likes someone who says, I told you so, except me.
Oh, yeah, that's your favorite. You have a hashtag, I told you so, right?
Yeah, but I'm not...
you also have a hashtag, I'm never wrong.
But I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about Reverend Gregory Livingston, because unlike some of the politicos and civic leaders and religious leaders coming forward now in the wake of the Laquan video being released, Reverend Livingston and some of his colleagues were ahead of the learning curve when a lot of African-American leaders were standing with Rahm and going along to get along for his reelection. Just a few months ago, this calendar year, Reverend Livingston and his friend Willie Wilson were offering an alternative. And whatever your opinion on Willie Wilson is, he offered an alternative. They said there's something wrong with this administration and we need to take Chicago in a different direction. And he's trying to do the same here. He is one of the organizers of a rally that is happening this morning at 11 a.m. at City Hall on the 5th floor. So, stop by, take an early lunch, stop by, and join in the revelry with Reverend Gregory Seal Livingston and his friends calling on Rahm to be removed from office. That's something I can wholeheartedly support. And Reverend Livingston joins us now. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, thank you, Dan and Amy. It's always a pleasure, man, to talk to you, Dan. You know I'm a fan.
Thank you. And so tell me what the purpose of the rally today is and the desired outcome.
Sure. I've been tracking Rahm for a long time. He's basically a political assassin, and now he sits on the seat on the 5th floor. And he's the son of the Clintons, Hillary and Bill. And so you see a lot of that happening now in Chicago. And so, we tried to remove him through the electoral process. And, Willie didn't win. Chewy didn't win because we knew that having one of them in there would be better than leaving him there. And so, but now with this travesty, with this conspiracy, with this cover-up, it's so evident to everyone that he's trying to, McCarthy got what he deserved, I believe, but he's still a fall guy. Alvarez, she's going to get what's coming to her, but she's still a fall guy. But he's the head of the monster. He's the Hydra. And so, he has to be removed because, our coalition is called Coalition for a New Chicago. We can't get a new Chicago in there until we get an old Chicago out. And we need to get the aldermen out, too, because they rubber stamp everything he does. And it's time for Rahm to go. He has plenty of money. He'll be okay. He won't starve.
So Rahm didn't satisfy his critics. He didn't satisfy you by just firing Gary McCarthy yesterday?
Oh, by no means. By no means. Come on. I saw Gary on all the morning news shows yesterday. The next thing I know,
90
Gary's
minutes
gone.
later. Yep, 90 minutes later, he was summoned to City Hall. And they asked him to resign, but yet he didn't. So then they fired him.
But he's the Bronx Bulldog, He's a super tough guy. And I hope you guys can hear me. There's a siren ambulance.
Rahm sent the boys for you.
Well, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised, but I got both eyes open, But, McCarthy has to go. McCarthy, now we've had our tangles in the past and the like when I was in Roseland pastoring there, and we wanted a different kind of policing strategy. We used to tell him and Rahm, look, give us the same policing strategy in Roseland that you have in Lincoln Park and Lakeview. Put some guys on bikes, put them on foot on the other Michigan Avenue, as it were. But these guys are corrupt. They're rotten. and I don't mind saying that. They're evil.
What
I
about,
don't mind saying that. Yeah.
What about that all-star panel that he convened? And what if that all-star panel comes up with some recommendations that you like, and then Rahm gets an African-American police chief? That going to make it all better?
We know corruption knows no color or ethnicity or nationality, but you can't have the corrupt policing their own corruption. And the fact that he puts that kind of panel together, he handpicks it, it's to his advantage. And Rahm can't help but be that way. During the election, Dan, I talked to some people who knew Rahm when he was growing up, he and his brother and his father's medical practice. They talked about how bad those boys were. And that same bad boy, he just has gray hair now. And Rahm's not going to pick anybody that's going to be, where it's going to be disadvantageous for him. But so that's why he has to go.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I mean, I think that this is the tale of the frog and the scorpion. Why did you sting me? It's in my nature. I think that is the deal with Rahm. But let me ask you this. So this rally today, I know you want to keep the pressure on, but I mean, there's no way to remove Rahm until and unless there's a recall ordinance that's passed at the city level or the Cook County level or both. Maybe those aldermen you're talking about that now feel that they're safe to come out and decry Rahm, maybe they should do something proactive, like have a recall ordinance like we have now at the state level.
I think that we can apply legal, political, and moral pressure. One of the things that I was looking at, Dan and Amy, was the Chicago Municipal Code, where it talks about a substantive code of conduct provisions, the duty to report and whistleblower protection. And it talks about the duty to report corrupt or unlawful activity. Every city employee or official shall report directly and without undue delay. That gives us something to work with and something to pressure on because, why in the world would you cut a $5 million check and then say you don't know why you cut it? Well, that means that you don't need to be doing business for the city then if you get that backwards,
Or why wouldn't you even look at it first? I mean, that's just
$5 million check.
Fraudulent with our tax dollars.
And can I say this? This goes for a black alderman, white alderman, brown alderman. I mean, Ed Burke's finance committee cuts the check or whatever. All this goes through. Like, come on, everybody. And I think it was the FBI entered the investigation April 13th, a few days after the runoff, And so then, all of a sudden, all this stuff starts going on. We don't know what's going on. We don't know why the FBI would get involved with this. It's like, stop, everybody. Stop lying. And there's no. Go ahead, please.
If you're not successful with Rahm stepping down, are you going to go after Anita Alvarez, or are you going to go after both of them at the same time?
Well, Rahm's going to go after Anita. I don't have any doubts about that. He has to find ways for the average citizen to think that he's doing the right thing by taking out the guilty people. But we have to pull the cover off of Rahm and shine the light on him like roaches at midnight,
Yeah, I mean, replacing Anita Alvarez with Tony Preckwinkle's staffer for Cook County State's Attorney, what's that going to change anything?
It's all tied together. They all sleep in the same bed, and so if they're sleeping in the same bed, they're producing the same baby.
Yeah, but a friend of mine that works in the state's attorney's office said Kim Foxx would have never dragged her heels if she were the Cook County State's Attorney on this and would have come out a lot earlier with charges.
Please.
Well, I don't know, but I do know it was interesting when they talked about the Latinos. This is just plain Chicago, right? Mm-hmm. Latinos were saying that Alvarez has to step down. Chewy has some Latino politicals. And my thing is like, are the Jewish and the Irish politicians going to follow suit? If we're going to use those kind of categories, right? Blacks got shot. Blacks approved the check, and everything. Alvarez, the investigation. Rahm, the mayor. McCarthy, the police superintendent. So we want to use ethnicities and nationalities. I'm waiting for all of my good Jewish politicians and Irish politicians. Well, the Irish have done their part with McCarthy, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. Let's do rank order priority. Let's start with the Irish. So let me ask you this, though. There's this other case that's starting to bubble up to the surface because this press conference yesterday, we talked about in this show yesterday, we talked to the attorney for Ronnie Johnson's family. And if he, the dash cam video that he has seen but not has been released to the public, if he is right in what he says that dash cam video shows, that Ronnie Johnson was not armed, that he was fleeing police and he was shot in the back, that, I mean, this is not on the video, but he makes this allegation that police planted a gun on Ronnie Johnson. If any of that turns out to be true, including if the video is as grotesque as he describes, what happens then? Are we still going to be able to maintain peace? What do you think the outcome of that could be if we have another instance like this that was slow walked for more than a year, a shooting that happened 8 days before Laquan McDonald?
Riots are, I believe it was Dr. King that said it, and I may be misquoting, but riots are the yells, the screams of the oppressed. And so people can only take so much. And I would pray that nothing like that would happen. We've had some incredible young people with Black Youth Project and Black Lives Matters that have been out there and peacefully doing what they have to do. But when they start seeing the continual violence that comes against, the challenged and the oppressed, well, something just tends, everybody hasn't been watered down and diluted. Some people are still at the top of their emotional powder kegs, and they just may blow. Because the thing is, what kind of city are we when we have 9 policemen that can watch this guy literally murder, this young man? Because, that's what the mob and gangsters do. They keep shooting and stuff to send a message to the other mobsters and gangsters. This is a sworn officer of the law. So if you or I, Dan and Amy, were to see someone killed, and we were standing there watching, and we didn't report or to say anything about it, we would all be accessories to murder. So nobody is above the law. But what kind of city can allow that to go on and happen? And this police culture is so diabolical.
Yeah, but do you think Laquan was shot because he was black? Or maybe he was just shot because he didn't listen to police, didn't put the gun down, and it was acting like a crazed man?
Well, I think him being black didn't help,
So you think if he was white, he wouldn't have been shot?
Well, I don't know what's his name, Van Dyke's mindset when it comes to, racial constructs. Mm-hmm. But I'm just saying, I don't, the stats showed that him being black didn't really help him, But I think that Van Dyke had a serious problem, and I think that this video was just one instance. We don't know how many other people he's crippled in his career, because if he can do that, that wasn't the first time he's done it.
Reverend Livingston, let me suggest something for the rally today at City Hall.
Yes, sir.
Now, I don't know. There's one or two ways you can go with this, but the whole thing, like, I always disagreed with John Cass about this, calling Rahm the Rahm father, because that's what he wants. He wants to be like this tough guy. When it turns out he's Fredo, he's a bumbling fool.
Well, he looked scared yesterday,
and somebody should take him out in the boat. But let me suggest something else. Ridicule. This is a mayor that deserves to be ridiculed. They're not even outraged. He's pathetic. He's a sniveling coward. He's weak. And I would take my appellation for him, Tiny Dancer, and either have all the protesters dress up in tutus or bring tutus to City Hall and just leave them outside the mayor's office on the 5th floor to remind him that everyone knows what a small, pathetic little person he really is. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that, along with the Rob Ford Mayor of the Year award, we want to give him. He can go right to Toronto and just ask John to move aside and keep up where Rob Ford left off. I mean, Rob may not be on literal crack, but he's cracked, man. All
right,
it's crazy.
Reverend Gregory Livingston, rally today, 11 a.m., 5th floor, outside the mayor's office at City Hall. Good luck with the Remove Rahm effort, Reverend Livingston. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Amy. Always a pleasure.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
I own that. You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Well, you're waking up to some snow showers. More snow out in McHenry County, northern Lake County. Near the city, it's just all rain, but we're going to have flurries again this afternoon, a high today of 38 degrees. Then tomorrow, partly sunny, a little warmer around here, a high of 41. Slick roadways, heavy travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte with more.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Eden Spur eastbound stop and go from Waukegan Road to the Edens. And we see delays on the Edens, Peterson to the junction. About 22 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 20. The Kennedy, 28 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound 27. The Eisenhower's 46 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 39. Stevenson, 53 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, it's 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 35 minutes. I-80 to the Merge. Bishop Ford, 40. Jam starting at Sibley. Northbound Tri-State slow from the Stevenson to the Hinsdale Oasis. Adams Tollway, bottled up Barrington to Meacham with a stall in the right center lane. Reagan Tollway very slow, 83 to 290. Northwest Indiana still looking good. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com Traffic Center.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
The gospel truth about it is that the thing I'm most excited about is that after having my gallbladder out 3 years ago, I had constant pain in my side that was something that they couldn't attribute to anything other than probably a poor diet. Since I've been on these supplements, is really making a difference in my life. I feel better. I have no pain.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
There are two kinds of pain. Pain that goes away and the worst kind, chronic pain. If you suffer from chronic pain, life is not complete and it can be miserable. Unfortunately, most people use narcotics that mask the pain. You need to find the source of the chronic pain and get relief.
This is Dr. Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. We're serious players in the management of pain, and our team are national leaders as well as being educators in the treatment of pain. We will work with you to diminish or eliminate your pain and help you get your life back. You know, there's a nationwide narcotics epidemic, and people are too quick to mask over chronic pain instead of looking for the cause and treating or eliminating the pain. Contact us. We will help you.
Go to mypainchicago.com. Call and make an appointment with some of the best pain people in the nation, located here in Chicago. mypainchicago.com. You or someone you know suffers in the suffering of chronic pain. mypainchicago.com. Let's make you pain-free.
AM 560. The Answer.
Oh, 'tis the season for giving, and we here at AM 560 The Answer have teamed up again with Feed the Children to help raise money for those in need. You know, 1 in 5 American children face the prospect of hunger on a daily basis, and we're asking for a one-time donation of $76, and that will help feed 16 hungry children this holiday season. And what we love about Feed the Children is what's raised here stays here. So if you want to make a donation on behalf of your well-fed children, your well-fed grandchildren, then call 866-435-2248. Again, that number is 866-435-2248.
Yeah, and the money raised, so that $76 donation that Amy mentioned, each family receives a 25-pound box. What's in the box? I'm glad you asked. It's food filled with non-perishable items like canned goods, peanut butter, pasta, cereals. The box supplements the food intake for a family of 4 for 1 week. They also receive a 10-pound box of essentials, personal items like toiletries and cleaning supplies. So that's what your money provides to these families in need. Amy mentioned one way to support the program and help feed hungry families. The other way is the business benefactor program that we have in conjunction with this campaign. This is for small, mid-sized business owners or anyone involved with marketing a business. Any business that makes a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children will receive 40 60-second spots Monday to Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., so prime broadcasting hours right here on these airwaves. All you have to do is call sales manager Michael Mann. You call him directly at 847-871-1527 and ask for the business benefactor program, or go to the website 560theanswer.com, search the keyword feed, or you could just text the word feed to our turnkey.pro text line 64636.
And many of our business benefactors, Dan, are long-term clients. Tom Sadeka from Precision Payroll.
I love Tom Sadeka.
Yeah, he started out as a business benefactor. And think about it, $2,500. It's tax deductible. You'll help the needy as well as helping your business get noticed. You'll expand your customer base. It's really just the best deal ever, where you can help people and help yourself as well. Again, call Michael Mann, 847-871-1527. Plus, I don't know if you know this, but Dan or I could voice your commercials if you choose to be a business benefactor.
Or Michael Mann. I mean, he's, you know.
Oh, he does have a sultry voice.
Also,
Hi, Michael Mann.
I mean, think about it. Exactly, like Mr. Burns. Produced movies including Collateral, The Insider. Michael Mann is a talented individual.
Call him at 847-871-1527. Again, $2,500, tax deductible. And as a way of saying thank you, we will give you 40 60-second spots that will air Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. right here on AM 560, The Answer. And we thank you in advance for your generosity.
We elves try to stick to the 4 main food groups: candy, candy canes, candy corns, and syrup.
This is the morning show more Chicago radio listeners are choosing. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Raj Shah of Secure Capital Management was proud to co-sponsor Freedom Summit Chicago. While there, Raj met with a lot of 560 AM listeners. The same two things kept coming up. First, concern about what the future holds for Wall Street, taxes, and Social Security. And second, people wondering, is there anything more I can do to grow and protect my money? Raj can help you answer that question with a complimentary year-end review. Are there ways to dial back the risk you're taking while still getting a reasonable return? Are you maximizing your 401k? Are you paying unnecessary fees? And how will the coming Social Security changes affect your retirement planning? These are some of the areas Raj helps his clients with every single day. Call Secure Capital Management at 800-211-1962. Schedule your complimentary year-end review. Find us online, securecapitalusa.com. And don't forget to listen for Secure Retirement Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, licensed in Illinois.
Hey, I'm so excited to tell everybody who's considering buying a MyPillow but hasn't that now when you buy one, get one free, you'll also get a 60-day money-back guarantee. So basically, you can try MyPillow risk-free. You have nothing to lose and could be enjoying your best sleep ever. Of course, I took MyPillow with me on our RV trip down to St. Louis, and it's so important to get a great night's sleep. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies. Plus, it's washable. It keeps its shape to give you support where you need it most. That's why it's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer and 60-day money-back guarantee, visit MyPillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Rahm is a disaster for the Dems. We'll talk about it at 6:36 and take your calls, especially if you're a police officer.
Yes.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. We want to hear from you on all facets of this case.
Yeah, and what do you think about the firing of your top cop, Gary McCarthy? Again, that number, 312-642-5600. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good merry morning to Mike Scott.
Merry morning to you. 36 degrees, and snow makes you merry. You'll be dealing with it this morning. Brace yourself. We've not determined exactly how much snow will fall, but it is falling, sometimes heavy, during the morning commute. Iraq's prime minister says the country does not need foreign boots on the ground in the battle against ISIS. Haider al-Abadi made his statement before or after U.S. Defense Secretary Ash Carter told Congress that a new special ops force will be deployed to Iraq to step up fighting against ISIS.
ISIL's attacks in Paris were barbaric, and they were an assault on the civilization we defend. ISIL requires, and it will receive, a lasting defeat.
Belgian police raided 5 more houses in the Brussels area early this morning, detaining 2 for questioning regarding the Paris terror attacks. The House ready to vote on a long-awaited rewrite of the 2002 No Child Left Behind education law. The measure rolls back the federal government's authority to push academic standards and tell schools how to improve. The death of the newly elected mayor of Juneau, Alaska remains a mystery. Police have not determined whether Stephen Gregg Fisk died of a natural event or foul play. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel names an interim police chief until a permanent replacement is found. Chief of Detectives John Escalante will oversee the department, but Mayor Emanuel called it an undeniable fact that the public's trust in the police department has been eroded after the public outcry over the handling of the case involving a black teen shot 16 times by a Chicago police officer. Our guest in the last half hour, the Reverend Greg Harris, will rally at City Hall today, he says, for the removal of Emanuel, telling Dan and Amy the mayor is the biggest impediment to change.
McCarthy got what he deserved, I believe, but he's still a fall guy. Alvarez, she's going to get what's coming to her, but she's still a fall guy. But he's the head of the monster. You know, he's the Hydra. And so, he has to be removed because we can't get a new Chicago in there until we get an old Chicago out.
The Reverend Greg Livingston with Dan and Amy this morning here on AM 560. Meantime, the Illinois Attorney General is requesting that the Justice Department begin a civil rights investigation into the Chicago Police Department. A mental fitness exam will be done on a 19-year-old Central Illinois man. He's accused of trying to kill a 75-year-old and attack children at the Morton Public Library. Dustin Brown pleaded not guilty to charges, including attempted murder. You may recall the Army vet James Vernon was teaching 16 children chess on October 13 when authorities say Brown entered the room with knives. Authorities say the 75-year-old subdued Brown. Vernon was left with a deep cut on his hand. Chicago sports. Patrick Kane continues his scoring streak, extending that point streak to 20 games. But the Hawks lost to Minnesota 2-1 last night. Delaware beat Bradley in college hoops. Northwestern, a win over Virginia Tech. Eastern Illinois, a win over Indiana State. And the news, a service of Let Us Entertain You. Give the gift that fits all appetites, a Let Us Entertain You gift card. Receive a free $25 holiday bonus for every $100 in Let Us gift cards you buy. Simply visit a Lettuce restaurant or LEYE.com. A check of traffic and weather is on the way next on AM 560.
When all is said and done and the Obama administration rides off into the sunset, what one overwhelming theme will be the lasting impression? Here's one: asleep at the switch. While ISIS was making a rampage across the Middle East, we did nothing. While a Syrian dictator was killing 300,000 of his own people, we did nothing. When thousands of those same refugees came pouring across the border, we did nothing. Unfortunately, we were and still are asleep at the switch. So keep it here to learn what we can do about that. AM 560. The Answer.
Cornerstone National Bank believes trust, service, and relationship is the foundation of a business banking partnership. Cornerstone National Bank and Trust Company, where you belong. Visit cornerstonenb.com. Member FDIC.
On your mark, get set, go!
Enrollment for the College Illinois 529 prepaid tuition program is now open. Lock in the cost of college at today's plan rates and secure your child's future with College Illinois. Enroll now at collegeillinois.org.
10 seconds remaining. Down by 1. The ball is in your best player's hands. Dribble, drive, crossover, step back, elevate, release, rotation. These moments are everything. On the Husky Sports Network.
Tune in Wednesday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. as the Huskies take on the Chicago State Cougars. Right here on AM 560, The Answer. This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas. Great coffee. Period.
6:36 is our time. Let's get an update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The eastbound Eden spur has delays from Waukegan Road to the Edens. Then delays start again at Dempster. It's 30 minutes Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 23. The Kennedy, looking at 31 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 42. The Eisenhower, now just over an hour, 61 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. 48 from Manheim, outbound 44 to Thorndale. Stevenson, an hour and 14 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. It's 53 minutes from the Tri-State, outbound 45 minutes to 3:55. Orion runs 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 46 minutes, I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 55. Northbound Tri-State, slow Cicero to 31st, then from the Reagan Tollway to 290. Adams Tollway, stop and go Higgins to Meacham. Reagan Tollway, slow from the Aurora Toll to 59. Washington to Yackley, then really jammed Highland to 290. Traffic is a service of Massage Envy. Because of holiday traffic, whatever the reason, Massage Envy can help you manage the side effects of this wonderful thing we call living. Give the gift of total body care and get a free massage or facial service with a minimum gift card purchase. Not valid online. See clinic for details. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Snow showers this morning. Heavy snow falling in Wheeling and in Naperville right now. If those radar returns are any indication, flurries by the afternoon, high 38. 33 and snow at O'Hare. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by MJ Miller & Company Jewelers of Barrington. Make your holidays sparkle and shine with items from the new MJ Miller Holiday Catalog.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Looking at my cat photos.
Yeah. It's Amy and her cat porn. Just happy to have you back. I know you were almost detained on your way back in that rolling meth lab you call an RV.
No, it was not. We brought the RV down because I'm sick of sleeping on my sister's floor in St. Louis for Thanksgiving. So we brought an RV so we could be with the family. And while driving back, got stopped outside of Bloomington. And they had a canine dog. They took everyone's ID. Everyone in the car that was an adult took our IDs, did background checks, and just made sure because they weren't sure if we were sleeping or intoxicated because the wind was so strong the RV was moving back and forth and swaying.
Yeah. That's
that was full too. But yeah, so we're
quite
fine.
a rich, fascinating life you lead.
Yeah. So next time you want to rent an RV, I can show you how to drive it there, Dan.
Thank you.
And you got to clean out certain things too.
So on to the matter of what happens next now that Gary McCarthy has been removed from his post. Here's an interesting op-ed. I want to talk about this with Bob Milan, former first assistant Cook County State's Attorney's Office under Dick Devine. We'll have him at 7:35. But this op-ed written by a woman named Nicole Gonzalez Van Cleve, it's posted on the NBC News website. She is a former staff attorney for the Cook County State's Attorney under Anita Alvarez. Now she's like an assistant professor of criminal justice at Temple. She suggests that Anita Alvarez, Rahm Emanuel, Gary McCarthy, all of these individuals are merely, and I'm quoting her, the figureheads of an entire criminal court system fueled by racism. A court system where the death of another black boy barely makes anyone stand up and take notice, and staying quiet about the police officers involved in the shooting is considered a professional courtesy amongst peers.
Well, aren't they helping each other out? I mean, Tony Preckwinkle's calling for Anita Alvarez to step down, but Tony Preckwinkle wants her former chief of staff to become the new Cook County State's Attorney. Rahm's working with Tony because Tony went to Rahm and said, I want you to get rid of Gary McCarthy. He did that.
I don't think he did that at Tony Preckwinkle's behest. Their relationship is not exactly cozy, as you may recall. She was pretty late in the game to support Rahm. She resisted and resisted and resisted, and frankly, she probably would be the mayor right now if she had decided to run instead of pass.
But she did give some advice to Mayor Emanuel.
He needs to figure out how to make the changes that he believes are appropriate to give us a police force that serves and protects all of us, not just some of us.
Yeah, okay.
I think she carries a little more weight.
She carries a lot of weight, but we're talking about influence. And here's the thing. I mean, I appreciate Tony Preckwinkle's cliched advice. How stupid. This is the same woman who spends her time increasing taxes on cartridges, on bullets. You know, so it's a 1 cent if it's a 22 cal. It's
right.
5
but that
cents
money's
if it's
going to
9
help
millimeter.
pay for those who go to the emergency room without health insurance.
Have we figured this out yet in Chicago? Have we figured this out yet? Tony Preckwinkle, part of the Chicago Democrat power structure for 3 decades. She didn't ride into town like Gary Cooper in High Noon. She was on the city council for 20 years, a wholly owned subsidiary of the public sector unions. Rahm Emanuel didn't ride into town. He was part of the Chicago Democrat power structure for 25 years. He cut his teeth raising money for Richie Daley and then was rewarded by having the water department guys, some of who went to jail, help him in his congressional runs. I mean, give me a break. How gullible are the people of Chicago? And the question is, this moral indignation now, this outrage, this calling for heads to roll, yeah, it's going to keep up for a while, particularly if that Ronnie Johnson video.
When that becomes public? Yeah.
That, and we'll see what it says, because the Laquan video was, to some extent, oversold. What was said was going to be on the video wasn't completely on the video. I'm not minimizing it. I'm just saying.
But did you see that second dash cam video that showed him running from police and all that? I mean,
yes, but that's still not what was said was going to be on the video. They said there were people saying you see the officer standing over Laquan McDonald and shooting down at him execution style. Well, that's not on the video. So again, I'm not minimizing. I'm just saying, you start at the beginning of a classroom, and by the time you get around to the last person in the class, the story's changed significantly. And that's a little bit what we have until we see the actual evidence we see to prove up.
Bad game of telephone.
The other thing you have is the prosecution of this police officer. We talked to Patrick Collins, former assistant U.S. attorney, on Monday. We've talked to criminal defense attorneys yesterday. And, there's no easy case convicting a cop of murder.
Well, we're also talking to Jason Van Dyke's attorney, Dan Herbert, at 8:08 this morning. And he's going to give us his reaction to Gary McCarthy being fired. But in talking about Chicago politicians, Hispanic politicians in Chicago are now eating their own, because yesterday Luis Gutierrez pulled out from his endorsement of Anita Alvarez.
It was very difficult for me. I anguished. It was a very difficult decision. I think the world of Anita Alvarez on a personal level, but I think she let Laquan McDonald down. That indictment should not have happened last week. It should have happened 13 months ago.
Yeah, oh boy. There goes the Puerto Rican separatist vote. I mean, big deal. Lisa Madigan, too. Let's not forget Lisa Madigan. Daddy's little girl, been the attorney general for 13 years. What's she done? Who's she investigated?
She penned a letter yesterday to Loretta Lynch saying we want a Department of Justice investigation.
Exactly. Give me a break.
About excessive force.
Leading from behind. That barely even qualifies from leading from behind. That's how weak tea that is. Ron on the South Side, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Yeah, and you know what? Regarding Lisa Madigan, so she really thinks that if Loretta Lynch, there was appointed by Barack Obama, who bears a lot of responsibility for Rahm Emanuel, is really going to initiate some kind of investigation. Please give me a break. But Dan, earlier I know when you talked about Kim Foxx, I think we have to be a little careful in saying, well, one may not be different than the other. That was part of the rationale when some people are saying, well, Chewy may not be different than Rahm. Certainly, yes, he is. We saw what Rahm bought, and we've seen with Anita Alvarez. So we just want to be a little cautious with that. And hopefully the Republican Party, Dan, would talk with the Republican Party to bring in some candidates. It's not just a sure thing on the county level. Either one of them, we could beat Fox and Anita Alvarez. So those are my comments. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the call, Ron.
And Kim Foxx has a compelling story. I mean, she grew up in Cabrini Green, single mom, made her way through law school, and the people that I know that work at the state's attorney's office said she would have moved quicker on charging the officer.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm absolutely, Ron, you're right. I'm absolutely willing to withhold judgment on Kim Foxx. Let's see what kind of campaign she runs between now and the March primary. But let's also come into this with an appropriate amount of skepticism that someone of the system is unlikely to be waiting for their moment to flip the tables on the system. It does happen. It can happen. But I think this bill of goods has been sold over and over again when it hasn't happened. So let's just offer a little bit of restraint. Withhold judgment, but a little bit of restraint on it, assuming that anybody coming into this arena is a white knight. By the way, just to Ron's other point about Republicans who've abdicated the city.
Well, wait, is there a Republican candidate for Cook County State's Attorney?
There is a Republican candidate. But let me say this about that. There's a good piece by Noah Rothman in Commentary. And this is a real opportunity for a Republican Party that has abdicated, not just in Chicago, but in Illinois, but let's stay here specifically, to provide messaging to black families that maybe they haven't heard before. Maybe even if they heard it, they weren't willing to consider it for all kinds of reasons. This is an opportunity because the conversation has been changed for well-intended, well-informed Republicans to make a case. And we'll see if some of them do that, or if, as the Republican Party in Illinois has done for a long time, never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity. Roger on the South Side.
Hey, good morning. Toni Preckwinkle's got no right, in my opinion, to be getting involved in this in any way. For her to play the race card at this point, with all the taxes she's raising, she's got departments within the county, including the county highway department, okay, that are doing nothing but bleeding money. And if they're not bleeding money from there, off the money they're stealing off the motor fuel tax, the rest of the money goes down to Stroger Hospital, which is the biggest bleeding sieve in the United States. Okay? It's going to come out soon on her two different departments, and you know what? It's going to wind up blowing up in her face. The problem is, though, is she's still going to pull the Black City votes for her. Regardless of what.
Thanks for the call, Roger. Tony in Downers Grove.
Hey, Dan, this is just funny. You had not a very good pool of candidates to begin with, and so Tiny Dancer was the best option for the people. But you're never going to have. You're never going to have a Republican as a city mayor as long as you have a union city. It's just not going to happen. Not going to happen.
I don't know about that, Tony. Thanks for the call, Tony. I don't know about that because I think you have public sector unions, the teachers, SEIU asked me, that are past posts. They're at the leadership level. They're completely unreasonable. They live in their own private Idaho. But police and fire and the trade unions, I think, is a different story. So I'm not convinced at all. And there's no question this is an inflection point. This is an opportunity. Now, whether the opportunity is seized by more people than just us here on this little radio show to change the conversation and make people, encourage people to consider something they haven't previously considered or haven't considered in a long time, I don't know. But I don't think you can argue the opportunities there.
Quickly, before we jump, as you like to say, we have a great text message from the Amish texter. Maybe Anita Alvarez's next job can be Lisa Madigan's idiot stunt double. It's a good one.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Cloudy, snowy start to your day out in McHenry County. We have about an inch of snow. Downtown, it's just rain, but we're going to have flurries again this afternoon. A high of 38 degrees. Then tomorrow, partly sunny skies. A little bit warmer, a high of 41. Let's get the heavy travel times. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Eastbound Eden Spur, there are delays from Waukegan Road to the Edens. Then delays start again past Lake Avenue. 42 minutes Lake Hook to Montrose, outbound 35. Don Kennedy, 41 minutes O'Hare to downtown, outbound an hour and 2 minutes downtown to the airport. The Eisenhower, an hour and 5 minutes Thorndale to downtown, outbound 44 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 14 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, but delays start around 1:26. Outbound, it's 45 minutes. Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. On the northbound tri-state, it's slow Cicero to 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Adams Tollway from Higgins to Meacham. Reagan Tollway, slow from the Aurora Toll to 59, and around Yackley and really slow Highland to 290. Northbound Veterans Memorial, slow Boughton to the Reagan Tollway, Butterfield to St. Charles, and Army Trail to 290. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center. Now it's time for the Lou Dobbs Financial Report, brought to you by the Mutual Fund Store.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Private sector hiring, comments from Fed Chair Janet Yellen, and crude oil prices among the factors that may drive the market today. Those stories are next.
Health Markets Insurance Agency is the DBA of Inspire Insurance Solutions Incorporated, licensed in all states. Product availability varies. Agents may be compensated on enrollment. Attention Americans eligible for Medicare. Medicare plans are changing. New plans are now available that could increase your benefits and lower how much you pay. At Health Markets, our free service can help you find the Medicare plan that's right for you without the guesswork. Even if you're currently enrolled in a Medicare plan, you may be paying more than you need to and missing out on important benefits. This year's Medicare plan changes could mean more coverage and lower costs, but enrollment is not automatic. Call Health Markets today and we'll search thousands of Medicare plans from leading insurance companies. Plans that may cost less and cover more, with lower copayments, more choices like dental and vision care, and the freedom to see the doctors you choose. Best of all, our service is free. Don't let the Medicare deadline pass. Call Health Markets and let us find the right Medicare plan for you without cost or obligation. Call 800-971-0385. 800-971-0385. 800-971-0385.
Investors hope to build on yesterday's 1% rally on Wall Street. Investors reacting today to reports on private sector hiring and third quarter productivity, as well as the Fed's Beige Book report on the economy. Those reports and comments from Fed Chair Janet Yellen could influence trading in the currency and debt markets as well as the equity markets. We'll see whether she echoes or contradicts Chicago Fed Bank President Charles Evans' concerns about the wisdom of raising interest rates this month. Evans' comments and contraction in manufacturing pushed the 10-year Treasury yield below 2.2%. And investors in the crude oil market will be influenced by the Energy Department's report on crude oil inventories. January crude trading above $41 a barrel. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight at 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
My brother Chris is allergic to talking about retirement. Bring up his future and you'll get glazed eyes and awkward answers. Don't believe me? Let's try it. Chris, when will you retire?
Ha! You darn right I like nachos.
See what I mean? Chris, do you have a retirement account?
It's gotta be the right kind of cheese.
One last time. Are you ever going to retire?
And don't forget jalapenos. I love jalapenos.
Good for you, buddy.
Avoiding the retirement conversation? At the mutual fund store, we get it, and our advisors are here to help. Whether you're storing 401k statements in a shoebox, can't tell a traditional from a Roth IRA, or include piggy bank as one of your retirement accounts, there are no judgments here. We'll simply sit down with you one-on-one, talk about where you're at, and help you put a plan in place to get you where you want to be tomorrow. Let's get the conversation started today with a free consultation.
Hi, I'm Steve Check with the Mutual Fund Store in Chicagoland. Call me at 888-498-3636 or visit mutualfundstore.com and let's talk about your financial goals today.
Once again, AM 5.
A holiday event for the whole family. Celebrate the holidays with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra's Merry Merry Chicago from December 18th through the 23rd at Symphony Center. Join the merry musicians of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra for this magical event, featuring special guests, the Von Trapps. This joyous celebration will include treasured carols, sing-along holiday favorites, including Christmas in Chicago, and a visit by a very special guest from the North Pole. Don't miss this holiday spectacular, December 18th through the 23rd at Symphony Center. For tickets, visit cso.org/holidays. That's cso.org/holidays.
AM 560, The Answer.
Now it's time to talk. Now it's time to donate to AM 560. The Answer is a fundraiser effort that we have with Feed the Children. We've teamed up with them for 7 years now. And our goal is to feed 18,000 children in and around Chicagoland area this year. You can do so by making a one-time donation of $76 that will help feed 16 hungry children this holiday season. We also have a special program for business owners. It's our Business Benefactor program. And any business that makes a $2,500 tax-deductible donation as a way of saying thank you, we will give you for free 40 60-second commercials that will air Monday through Friday from 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. right here on AM 560, The Answer. And to do that, who should they call?
All you do is call sales manager Michael Mann. You may remember him from such films as Heat. You call him directly at 847-871-1527 and ask for the Business Benefactor program, or you can just visit the website, 560theanswer.com, search the keyword feed. Or, for your convenience, you can just text the word feed to the turnkey.pro text line. That's 64636. Again, Michael Mann, 847-871-1527, or just text the word feed to 64636, and we'll get you enrolled in that Business Benefactor program.
And it really is a great way to get your business noticed. You know, many of our business benefactors are now long-term clients, such as Tom Sadeka from Precision Payroll. He started out
funny man, Tom Sadeka.
Started out as a business benefactor and has been with us now for 7 years. So if you want to get a part of this program, sign up quick, sooner rather than later. $2,500 as a way of saying thank you. We will give you 40 60-second commercials. Call Michael Mann, 847-871-1527. We can't say the number enough. 847-871-1527.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
So do you think a politician can fix Illinois' problems? Me either. That's why I invested and I opened a real estate company in South Florida. Real wealth comes from real estate. I'm Sean Thompson. My company is Liberty Real Estate Services, and it's time to invest in a personal real estate portfolio that will secure your future. With Liberty Real Estate, we'll help you buy those properties, and most importantly, we'll help you manage those properties once they've been acquired. Financial independence can only be achieved when you've broken down the market like I have. Nobody wants to rent your 401k, but many want to rent your house. Real wealth comes from real estate with Liberty Real Estate Services. Call me right now at 630-323-4376. That number again is 630-323-4376, or visit the website at libertyrealestateservices.com for information you'll need to get real financial freedom and control your destiny. 630-323-4376 or libertyrealestateservices.com.
Liberty Real Estate Services, LLC. Illinois license number 481011303. Florida license ID BK3339363.
Did you hear that's Sean from Elmwood Park, that spot, that Liberty Real Estate spot.
He sounds so different when he's not screaming.
He does. He's a professional, too. You've heard me talking about the new website, upstreamideas.com. If you haven't checked it out yet, you're missing thoughtful expository content you won't find anywhere else from those who've operated in the political and policy arenas. Each week, you can watch the latest episode of Against the Current. That's our long-form interview series. This week with Maze Jackson, political editor of the Chicago Defender. You can also watch Illinois by the Numbers, our video series that breaks down Illinois one number at a time to explain what the policy challenges are, why we have them, and what we can do about them. This week, the number 97. And you can check out highlights from each Sunday's Illinois Rising, which tackles state and local politics and policy, with deep thinkers from the Illinois Policy Institute and Illinois Opportunity Project. At Upstream Ideas, questions are asked that don't get asked anywhere else. Points of view are heard that are not heard anywhere else. No sacred cows, no punches pulled. It's all at upstream-ideas.com.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, George Will be here.
George
Will? Yes, that.
Yes, Ralphie.
And also at 8:08, Officer Jason Van Dyke's attorney will be here as well. But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
The early morning snow is really having an impact on the commute. We'll tell you how much snow has fallen and when it will end coming up. Mayor Rahm Emanuel fires Gary McCarthy over the Laquan McDonald shooting. We'll get reaction. The first deputy of the department takes the reins as superintendent on an interim basis. A budget summit produces no spending plan in the state. Minnesota clipped the Blackhawks, and the Bulls host the Nuggets tonight. Cloudy and snow showers. WIND Chicago News Times, 7 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. Many more products and stores are now affected by a vegetable recall over E. coli that sickened 19 people in 7 states. Fox News Radio's Tanya J. Powers has this live.
Lisa, it started with that Costco chicken salad recall. It has expanded now. The recall is for a mix of diced celery and onion made by California-based Taylor Farms Pacific. Foods affected range from Thai-style salads to packaged dinners and wraps. They're sold at stores including Costco, Starbucks, Walmart, Safeway, and Target under its Archer Farms brand. Illness reports have come from Montana, Utah, Colorado, California, Missouri, Virginia, and Washington State. People who bought chicken salad at any Costco store on or before November 20th are told to throw it away, Lisa.
Thanks, Tanya. As the U.S. prepares to send more special ops forces to Iraq, Secretary of State Kerry urging other NATO members to ramp up their support for the fight against ISIS.
Ammo, military assistance. People can provide enablers. There are various ways in which countries can contribute. They don't have to necessarily be troops.
Kerry speaking at NATO headquarters in Brussels. The alliance may soon have its 29th member, tiny Montenegro, invited to join NATO today. Donald Trump still the Republican frontrunner in a new national poll, but not by as much. And there's a new number 2. Fox News Radio's Rachel Sutherland live in D.C.
Florida Senator Marco Rubio is surging, according to a new National Quinnipiac University poll, showing him with 17% support among likely Republican voters. He's behind Donald Trump, who's holding on to a solid lead with 27% support. Ben Carson takes a hit and lands in 3rd place, tied with Senator Ted Cruz, each with 16% support. Jeb Bush has 5%. The poll shows Democrat Hillary Clinton with an enormous lead over Senator Bernie Sanders, 60 to 30%. Lisa.
Rachel, the U.S. House set to vote today on a long-awaited redo of No Child Left Behind. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Heavy snow showers, 33 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. Brace yourself for that morning snow. It could be heavy at times. It's expected to taper off this afternoon, 1 to 3 inches falling across the area. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel is named an interim police chief until a permanent replacement is found for the superintendent he fired on Tuesday. Chief of Detectives John Escalante oversees the department on the interim basis. The mayor calling it an undeniable fact that the public's trust in police has been eroded after a public outcry over the handling of the Laquan McDonald case. A guest in our last hour, the Reverend Greg Livingston, and his supporters are rallying at City Hall for the removal of Mayor Emanuel, telling Dan and Amy the mayor is the biggest impediment to change.
I mean, McCarthy got what he deserved, I believe, but he's still a fall guy. Alvarez, she's going to get what's coming to her, but she's still a fall guy. But he's the head of the monster. You know, he's the Hydra. And so, he has to be removed because we can't get a new Chicago in there until we get an old Chicago out.
The Illinois Attorney General is requesting the Justice Department begin a civil rights investigation of the Chicago Police Department. An autopsy is scheduled later today for a man killed by a CTA Blue Line train. Police say the man was hit last night at the Austin station near Oak Park. A portion of the train service was suspended for about 2 hours. A 21-year-old accused of threatening to kill white students or staffers at the University of Chicago is out of jail. Jabari Dean is under house arrest and in the custody of his mother. Governor Bruce Rauner closed the public portion of Tuesday's budget summit with a forceful plea to take on what he calls the root causes of Illinois' financial woes. A physician accused of violating Illinois' medical marijuana law could lose his license, in a case critics say highlights the state's strict enforcement. Dr. Bodo Schneider is accused of charging patients for marijuana recommendations without a legitimate doctor-patient relationship. Chicago sports, Wild over the Blackhawks 2-1. Patrick Kane extends his point streak to 20 games. The news a service of Massage Envy. Because of holiday traffic or whatever the reason, Massage Envy can help you manage those side effects of this wonderful thing we call living. Give the gift of total body care and get a free massage or facial service with a minimum gift card purchase. Not valid online. See clinic for details. 7:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Hey, Chicagoland, Dave Ramsey here. For the last 20-plus years, we've helped millions of people get their financial lives in order. And now, for the first time ever, we're bringing our Smart Money Tour to you. Financial expert Chris Hogan and I will be at Willow Creek Church on January 12th. If you're tired of living paycheck to paycheck or wondering what you're going to do when retirement comes around, don't miss this event. Get your seats today at DaveRamsey.com.
Sponsored in part by ImageOneChicago.com.
Are you living with prostate enlargement? Do you pee more often than you used to? Do you wake up to go? Be honest, is there a drop in your romantic life? Prostate problems don't go away on their own, so you need to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, the #1 non-prescription formula for your prostate. The ingredients are natural. With Super Beta Prostate, you'll have less urges to urinate, less waking at night, and an improvement in your romantic life, guaranteed. Try it for free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-317-7593. Super Beta Prostate is so powerful, you'd have to take 100 saw palmetto capsules to get the same active ingredient in just one Super Beta Prostate tablet. Stop running to the bathroom and call us now for your free bottle. Hurry, this free offer won't last. Just call 1-800-317-7593. That's 1-800-317-7593. 1-800-317-7593.
7:06. And in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center, here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Eden Spur delays start at Waukegan Road, then it's slow from Lake Avenue to the junction. The Edens, it's 42 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose outbound 33. The Kennedy slow all the way, now 50 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound, an hour and 6 minutes. Inbound Eisenhower, an hour and 13 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop. 55 minutes from Manheim. Outbound 52 to Thorndale. Northbound I-55 delays start at 1:26, and the Stevenson is an hour and 14 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 54 minutes. The Ryan, 32 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 46 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop Ford, 55. Delays on the northbound Tri-State are from Cicero to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Eastbound Adams Tollway slow 59 to Meacham and Toohey to Lee. Reagan Tollway from the Aurora Toll to 59, Mill to 355 and Highland to 290. Veterans Memorial from I-55 most of the way to St. Charles and Army Trail to 290. Southbound Lakeshore Drive still pretty light. Northbound it's slow from the Stevenson to Jackson. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the AirComfort.com Weather Center, Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Today, cloudy with snow showers this morning with little or no accumulation, followed by a flurry for the afternoon, high of 38. Tonight, becoming partly cloudy with a low 26, partly sunny tomorrow, high 40. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560, The Answer.
33 in snow at O'Hare. Next news at 7:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by The Lou Bridges Show. Get foreclosure defense solutions that may save your home. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Tonight, protesters celebrating the firing of Chicago's top cop, Gary McCarthy. Their demand for change escalated after a video showing a police officer shooting Laquan McDonald was released.
I'm grateful for his service to the city.
Yeah, I want to express my appreciation to him for making a change in leadership, but I think you have to understand that that's just the beginning.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning. What is up, Dan and Amy? Amy, your favorite George Will book? I mean, there's so many.
Baseball.
It's a baseball.
The Cubs,
yeah, I know. He's a kind of a.
Oh, we haven't talked to him since the
multifaceted artist.
NLCS, have we? Since that sweep thing that went on?
George Will is a knowledgeable baseball man. He knew the Cubs were not going to go to the World Series. Come on.
Oh, that's not true.
Please.
Young
He's
team,
disabused of that
pitchers.
notion from many, many moons ago. My favorite, Restoration, actually. It's about 20 years old, I think, now, but I remember reading it in college. And, a discussion of the return to deliberative democracy. It seems more relevant today than ever. George Will, I think, had one of the best summations of this junk science fair going on in Paris on Fox News Channel over the weekend. Here's what he said.
People of ISIS, wherever they are in northern Iraq, are saying, oh, we've been rebuked. This is part of the problem, that everything is said to confirm global warming, and global warming is now said to cause everything else. So it's a theory that can't be refuted, which means it's no longer a scientific theory. The amazing thing is, never in history, anywhere ever, has all the power of the modern state, supplemented by mass education, supplemented by the mass media, supplemented by journalism and entertainment, been all employed for 30 years to propagandize about this sort of thing, about global warming and all the rest, to almost no effect. Fewer Americans carpool today to work than carpooled in 1980. SUVs have never been a larger proportion of the vehicles being sold in this country. The American people may profess occasionally to be concerned about global warming, but their behavior tells you that none of this propaganda has had any effect.
Yeah, I think it's an optimistic note of sorts, but I wonder if we should be so optimistic. We put that question to Pulitzer Prize-winning writer and author George Will, who joins us now. George, thanks so much for joining us.
Glad to be with you.
So I like the hopeful note, and you're certainly right. I didn't kind of quite think of that way, that Americans have endured all this propaganda and rejected it through their conduct. But shouldn't we still be concerned because the ruling class continues to propagandize and act in furtherance of that from a policymaking perspective?
They do, and we're producing from the hothouse atmosphere of our campuses. People spend 4 years being indoctrinated into this stuff. But at some point, Congress, which represents the American people, can put a limit on the executive discretion of the current administration and simply stop the transfer of trillions of dollars, either in direct spending or in wealth creation foregone, in the name of global warming. $1 trillion a year is what it would cost the planet. $1 trillion a year going forward every year to perhaps, big perhaps here, because we really don't understand the science, to perhaps change by 1 degree the increase in global temperatures. It's a huge expenditure for very little return.
So is President Obama lying when he was in Paris yesterday saying towns in Alaska have been washed away because sea levels are rising? So is he lying to us?
Well, I don't know what town he was talking about, and I don't think he mentioned the particular towns. I think we'd have heard about it by now if American towns were inundated.
Yeah.
I may be wrong about this, but let's stipulate, for the sake of argument, that he's right that the sea levels are rising. Then you get into a simple adult cost-benefit analysis. Is the best way to combat this to, as I say, have enormous expansion and micromanagement of our daily lives by the government, or to build some breakwaters around Miami Beach? These are adult questions, and remember, the planet has at times been very much warmer than it is today. It has been very much cooler. I mean, there was a time when Greenland was named Greenland because it was green. The planet was so warm. Then there was the Little Ice Age of the Middle Ages. I'm from Champaign, Illinois. There was a time when Champaign, Illinois was under enormous sheets of glaciers. The climate changed. Aren't we glad?
I want to talk about something else that's disturbing coming out of Paris in addition to that junk science fair. This is a message that was delivered from an Israeli news station that Paris police ordered Jews to cancel most of their public Hanukkah candlelighting in the city for fear of additional attacks. The news agency goes on to report that there are efforts underway to approve a candlelighting at the foot of the Eiffel Tower. But boy, oh boy, when you start getting into that kind of regulation of people's free expression and religious expression, talk about, to borrow a phrase from the left, this is what the terrorists want.
It is what the terrorists want, and the terrorists, in a sense, when France went, as you can understand them doing, to a state of emergency, closing their borders, restricting assembly and expression. This follows as night the day. Now, you can't blame the French for fighting back. You can blame the French for making this specific request, or order, if that's what it is, that the group most targeted by ISIS, Jews, should make the most conspicuous sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, yesterday, Secretary of Defense Ash Carter wanted to expand our fight in ISIS, putting 200 special ops troops to work with Kurdish forces. What piqued my interest was he said they're also going to carry out missions alone inside Syria. It sounds like as if we're fully engaged in war, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and you hear Jeb Bush is running ads now in New Hampshire and on Fox News and elsewhere saying the United States is at war with ISIS. Well, if we are, I'd like to hear that from Congress. We have a mechanism for declaring when we are at war. The Constitution says the President, as Commander-in-Chief, shall make war, but Congress shall declare it. And it would be nice to have some little sense of the rule of law in our use of force.
And that was a conversation that occurred yesterday in the House Armed Services Committee between Congressman Forbes and Ash Carter, as well as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, where they, kind of middled the issue. No, not formally, because that's Congress's responsibility, of course, but they're using war in kind of the colloquial nature of that word, I suppose. But the other thing that was interesting that the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said, which seems to be about 180 degrees from where President Obama thinks this is he said, no, we have not contained ISIS, maybe tactically from times, but ISIS has expanded between 2010 to present.
It has expanded, and one of the places he's expanded is in control of having a footprint, to say no more, in Libya. Libya has become a failed state because of U.S. action. Mrs. Clinton, with the support of a number of Republicans, were enthusiastic about decapitating the Libyan regime. 8 months of bombing, which the administration's compliant lawyers said never amounted to armed hostilities, finally killed Gaddafi, creating a vacuum for the filling of which we had no plans whatever. And now we have this failed state with radical Islam filling this vacuum, and again, no answer to this. So as ISIS metastasizes across a crescent from almost Afghanistan to now into Libya, we see the fruits of our folly.
Now, with all the war-torn countries, there's millions of refugees. Do you think the Syrian refugees pose a threat to our national security?
The vast majority of them don't. The question is, how do you find the tiny minority that obviously do? Obviously, women and children are not the problem. We know that the problem would be young males of fighting age. So we have to be comfortable, if we're going to admit these, we have to be comfortable with what's called profiling. We know where the odds are overwhelming that if there are dangerous people here, they will be in that particular age cohort, male and between 18 and 30. We'd have to act accordingly.
I want to switch to a domestic topic. I know this has kind of been subsumed by everything that's going on globally, understandably so. But the CEO of United Healthcare said yesterday he regretted the decision to enter the Obamacare marketplace last year, which the company says has resulted in millions of dollars of losses. So they've pulled out. It was a bad decision for us. We didn't believe it would form this slowly, be this porous, or become this severe, said United Health CEO, I should say, Stephen Hemsley. Boy, I tell you what, what a stunning development this must be to United Healthcare that the federal government could muck up the health insurance market. It seems to me this is a case where Stephen Hemsley is too smart to be that fracking stupid, and this is just a rent-seeking miscue that he's trying to paper over.
But if I were a stockholder in that company, I would want to know why they are so surprised. People warned about this. Remember, the whole point of the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, was cost containment. But all it did was double down on the system we already had and put in place through Obamacare an enormous mechanism for transferring wealth, getting the young and the healthy to subsidize the old and the infirm. The results are astonishing price increases on a system that is not going to be fully implemented until Mr. Obama is safely out of office. But by then, I think the country will have risen up, and I think that Obamacare is going to be as perishable as, say, No Child Left Behind. No Child Left Behind was George Bush's great domestic initiative. Congress has essentially undone it in the last few weeks. So domestic programs, even enormous initiatives as the signature initiatives of an administration, can, in fact, be unwound.
Before we let you go, I want to, thank you for standing up to Bill O'Reilly and that yellow journalism that he penned called Killing Reagan. I was at a lunch shortly after your spirited exchange with Mr. O'Reilly on his program. Fred Barnes recounted a story of interviewing Reagan in 1987, where they spent a good couple of hours in the Oval Office talking about everything from the policy issues of the day to Reagan walking him back into history, Hollywood history, and talking in explicit detail about different movies and different actors and actresses he had worked with. So this whole premise that Reagan was gone mentally by midway through his tenure, that is the basis of O'Reilly's book, is being refuted by people who know better. You're one of those that's stood up when you should have stood up, and it's good that you did that.
Well, this argument that I had with Mr. O'Reilly was not about O'Reilly. It was about Reagan. It was about the nation's memory. It's about the historical record. And it's about the ongoing attempt by enemies of conservatism to discredit conservatism's finest hour, which was the Reagan administration, the end of the Cold War, the igniting of a tremendous economic boom. The way the adversaries of conservatism want to do this is to discredit Reagan, and Mr. O'Reilly, I'm afraid, played right into their hands.
Well, we won't buy that book, but we'll buy this book, A Nice Little Place on the North Side.
That's the spirit.
There you go. And George Will, please give my regards to Jeff. I know we've talked about this before, but he and I were at Northwestern at the same time.
I sure will.
Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The George Will?
Yes.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Looks like a winter wonderland out there. Snow showers have ended, but they'll be back. Flurries by this afternoon, a high of 38 degrees. Then tomorrow, partly sunny skies, a little bit warmer, a high of 41. I'm sure the snow is wreaking havoc on the roadways. Here's Jim Telemonte with the travel times.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. Good morning. That timing's everything. Inbound Kennedy, thanks to that snow and rain, an hour and 8 minutes. So O'Hare to downtown. Express lane save maybe 8 of those minutes. Outbound, an hour and 15 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Edens, 47 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 35. The Eisenhower, an hour and 16 minutes. Thorndale to the Loop, outbound 55 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 28 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Delays start as far south as 126. Outbound, it's 54 minutes. Ryan, 35 minutes. 95th to downtown. I-57, Bishop Ford, both running about 56 minutes from I-80 to the merge. Tollways are all heavy. We see a delay on the southbound tri-state now from 120 to 176. Northbound jam to Cicero to 31st and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
They're just awesome. I keep telling people because they keep asking me, what am I doing? I told them what I did with my cholesterol. I had the blood test, right? And it went down 100 points. 262, now it's 162. And then my bad cholesterol was 62, now it's 52. So, and then with my blood work, the doctor said, I don't know what you're doing, but everything is just perfect.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. You know, nothing frustrates me more than liberal hypocrisy. Take our food, for example. You know, the left claims to care about the poor and the environment, but guess what? They're waging a silent war against America's farmers that is making our food supply more costly and less sustainable. America's family farmers are producing more food using less land and fewer resources than ever before. Now, they should be cheered, but instead, radical groups are working with government bureaucrats to crack down on our farmers and limit the tools and technology that they're allowed to use. Now, the result is higher food costs for you, the American consumer, and low-income families, they're hit the hardest. Now, thankfully, someone is fighting back. Protect the Harvest is a national coalition working to defend modern American agriculture. You can check them out at protecttheharvest.com and follow them on Facebook to get the very latest news and see how you can help. Don't let radical activists control your family's food choices. Visit protecttheharvest.com today.
This is Joe Walsh. I'm excited to tell everybody who's considered buying a MyPillow but hasn't that now with the buy one, get one free offer, you'll also get a 60-day money-back guarantee. Basically, you can try MyPillow risk-free. You've got nothing to lose and could be enjoying your best sleep ever. What are you waiting for? It's so important to get a great night's sleep. MyPillow helps with snoring, headaches, neck pain, insomnia, allergies, and more. Plus, it's washable, keeps its shape, and gives you support where you need it most. That's why it's the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. For the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer and 60-day money-back guarantee, visit MyPillow.com or call 1-800-489-0201. Please use the promo code JOE. Do it now. This offer is for a limited time. 1-800-489-0201 or online at MyPillow.com. Promo code JOE, 1-800-489-0201.
AM 560, The Answer.
'Tis the season for giving, and once again, AM 560, The Answer, has partnered with Feed the Children to help raise money for those less fortunate. You know, 1 in 5 American children face the prospect of hunger on a daily basis, and our goal this year is to feed 18,000 children in and around the Chicagoland area, not just in the city, but also in the suburban areas as well. And we're asking for a one-time donation of $76 that will help feed 16 hungry children this holiday season. And to do that, just call 866-435-2248. Again, that's 866-435-2248. But there's also other ways to help.
Well, right. And that $76 donation that Amy mentioned, just to understand what you provide with that donation. Each family receives a 25-pound box of food filled with non-perishable items like canned goods, peanut butter, pasta, cereals. They also get a 10-pound box of essentials like toiletries and cleaning supplies. And in addition to making a contribution of any amount by calling the 866-435-2248 number, there's a special program for business owners and anyone really involved in marketing a business. It's called our Business Benefactor Program. It's very similar to like what we did with the golf outing, where you had businesses sponsor that were golf outing sponsors, and those proceeds were provided in part to Operation Support Our Troops to help military families locally. Well, this is a way to help families in need locally this holiday season. Any business that makes a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children will receive 40 60-second commercials that run Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., so prime broadcasting hours, right here on these airwaves. And all you have to do is call sales manager Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527 and ask to get involved in the business benefactor program. He'll take it from there. You can also just text the word feed to our turnkey.pro text line 64636, and you'll be prompted as to how to enroll.
And think about that. $2,500. It's tax deductible. You'll help families in need, but you'll also receive 40 60-second commercials that will run Monday through Friday, primetime hours. And it's really so important. The commercials are valuable. I mean, this station is growing. Our show is bigger than ever, Dan. New listeners migrating like refugees from the station of the dial.
It's
so
an interesting and simile that you chose.
It is. But to be a business benefactor, again, many of our business benefactors become long-term clients. So to become a business benefactor, call Michael Mann directly, 847-871-1527. That's 847-871-1527.
And we'll voice those commercials that you get, those 40, 60-second commercials you get. I'll do it in my Truman Capote voice if you want.
Oh, can you give me your Truman Capote voice?
I'm many things. I'm a drug addict. I'm homosexual. I'm a genius. Wouldn't that sound good in a commercial for your business?
847-871-1527. And we'd like to thank you in advance for your generosity.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
For missing teeth, dental implants are wonderful. The advantages are fantastic. They really are just like your original ones. What you probably don't know is that not all implants are the same quality, and there are a lot of unqualified people doing implants.
This is Brian DeWolf. I have 2 implants from Fox River Periodontics. I had one. I was happy with it. So I had another one done, and I love them. The idea of dentures didn't appeal to me at all. I didn't want that appliance in my mouth. These implants are wonderful. They're just like your real teeth, and they're probably even better because there's no nerve attached to them, so there's no pain, and they last forever. Dr. Neruzzi is great, and his staff is wonderful, and I trust him completely. If you're looking for dental implants, or considering dental implants for a missing tooth or for a whole mouthful, talk to Dr. Neruzzi. You'll be happy you did, and Fox River Periodontics.
Just remember, implantsforme.com. Implantsforme.com.
This is Dr. Neruzzi. I personally guarantee your happiness with your implants. Go to implantsforme.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Chestnuts.
It's definitely the Christmas season. The snow has fallen. It's beautiful outside. And here at AM 560, we want to help you celebrate the season by building your own Christmas playlist. This month, we're offering 12 days of Christmas music when you use the AM 560 mobile app on your smartphone.
I can also voice those 40-second commercials in Natalie Cole, my Natalie Cole impersonation. Today, you can download the Christmas song by Nat King Cole that you're hearing right now, which can add to your own personal Christmas playlist absolutely free. And check the app again on Friday when the free music download on the AM 560 mobile app will be Please Come Home for Christmas by the Eagles.
Oh, and Merry Christmas from all of us here at AM 560, The Answer. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We talked to Bob Milan at 7:37. Bob Milan, former first assistant state's attorney, Cook County State's Attorney's Office under Dick Devine. We'll talk about the Laquan McDonald case, the Ronnie Johnson case, and the culture within the state's attorney's office.
And how is Officer Jason Van Dyke doing? We'll speak with his attorney exclusively at 8:08 a.m. But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan's snow showers, 33 degrees. Defense Secretary Ash Carter says the U.S. is getting set to deploy a new force to combat ISIS in Iraq.
We're defending the homeland, acting to defeat ISIL in its core in Syria and Iraq, and taking appropriate action wherever else in the world this evil organization metastasizes.
In a U.S. House hearing, Carter says a new targeting force is separate from the deployment of about 50 special ops troops in northern Syria. GOP presidential candidate Ted Cruz believes the president is focused on the wrong problem, climate change, rather than the fight against ISIS.
Saturday Night Live can't even make fun of him anymore because he says the most ridiculous things. This is a president who thinks the SUV in your driveway is a greater threat to this country than radical Islamic terrorism. In fact, he's not even willing to utter the words radical Islamic terrorism.
Cruz adds the president has made it abundantly clear that either he or Hillary Clinton do not have any intention of defeating ISIS because they won't recognize the enemy, in Cruz's words. What police call a nonstop battle is continuing in the skies over Phoenix. Lasers hit 4 more aircraft overnight, over Arizona's biggest city. Planes were all headed to the municipal Deer Valley Airport at the north end of the metro area. No one was hurt. Jurors will be deliberating for an 8th day in the West Virginia trial of ex-Massey Energy CEO Don Blankenship. You may recall he's charged with conspiring to break safety laws and defraud mine regulators at West Virginia's Upper Big Branch mine. That mine exploded in 2010, killing 29. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel has named an interim police chief until a permanent replacement is found for the police superintendent, Gary McCarthy, that he fired yesterday. Chief of Detectives John Escalante will oversee the department in the interim. Illinois Congressman Luis Gutierrez says he will not vote for Cook County State's Attorney Anita Alvarez when she seeks re-election next year. There's been a growing chorus demanding Alvarez's resignation over her handling of the Laquan McDonald case. Chicago sports, wild over the Blackhawks, 2-1. Patrick Kane did extend his point-scoring streak to 20 games. The news, a service of Lead Safe America. More than 1 in 3 American kids has lead in their blood. No level of lead is safe. Lead poisoning causes learning disabilities and behavioral disorders. Has your child been tested? Learn more at leadsafeamerica.org. 7:34, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher believes a killer is a killer.
Nadel Hassan was a registered Democrat and Muslim. James Holmes was a registered Democrat. Sung-Hoo Cho wrote hate mail to President Bush. We didn't say that when this was all unfolding because it's irrelevant. We're not going to blame Democrats for the actions of some lunatic evil shooter in a movie theater. That game is played by the Michael Moores and the Loretta Lynches on the left.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016 open enrollment begins on November 1st and ends on January 31st. During this 90-day window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you may find a more affordable plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly at 630-674-1551. That's 630-674-1551.
This is Michelle DeVal from DeVal Jewelers. Dennis and I want you to know that when you sell your diamonds, gold, silver, platinum, and estate jewelry to us, we will strive to give you the highest cash payment possible.
And all transactions are strictly confidential. There's absolutely no pressure. And like Michelle said, we can pay you 50% more by eliminating the middleman. Why? Because we are direct buyers.
We buy certified diamonds and engagement rings, 1/2 carat and above, broken and used gold jewelry, estate jewelry, gold and silver coins, and more. We really do understand the sentimental value and pledge to be considerate, knowledgeable, and private.
We have been Chicagoland's family jeweler for over 100 years. We take pride in having the perfect jewelry selection for every budget and taste preference.
We're just south of the Kennedy on Harlem Avenue in Harwood Heights. Call us at 708-867-8200. That's 708-867-8200 or visit DAVALLE.com.
DeVal Jewelers, more bling
and less sting.
This year, avoid the holiday hassle and give the gift of wall-to-wall sports action, famous wings, and countless taps with a B-Dubs gift card. Easy to pick up in store or online. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
7:37 in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center. Let's get the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Edens is jammed. Dempster to Elston, where a crash has 2 left lanes blocked and a light pulls down. An hour, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 40 minutes. The Kennedy, an hour and 21 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound an hour 10. The Eisenhower, an hour and 16 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 55 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 28 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 54 minutes. Ryan, 35 minutes. 95th to downtown. Bishop Ford, an hour and 5 minutes to get from 8094 to the Ryan. I-57, about 56 minutes. Big delays on Lakeshore Drive both ways. Tri-State southbound slow 120 to 176. Northbound jammed Cicero to 31st. From Reagan all the way to North Avenue. Other tollways real heavy too. Traffic service of Compassion International. Almost 1 billion children around the world live in extreme poverty. You can change or even save the life of one of those kids. Become a sponsor with Compassion International. Find out how at compassion.com/radio. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Cloudy, snow showers this morning, followed by flurries this afternoon with a high near 38. Currently 33 degrees. At O'Hare, 36, and a little light rain mixed with the snow along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 8, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560 The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshale Financial Group.
You want more than just the headlines? Find out what's going on and what it means with me, Dennis Prager, this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And so we've talked about Gary McCarthy's termination yesterday, talked about the police side. Like Law and Order, now let's talk about the prosecution side. State's Attorney Anita Alvarez, who is under fire for her handling of the Laquan McDonald case. I think that fire is going to continue with respect to this Ronnie Johnson case, about which there was a presser yesterday. And also, it just seems to me it's been a plethora of cases involving Chicago police officers that have been handled curiously, to be generous, by the Cook County State's Attorney to help us understand what happens inside that office and give us a bit of expert perspective. We're now happy to be joined by Bob Milan, who is the former first assistant at the Cook County State's Attorney's office under Dick Devine, the previous Cook County State's Attorney. Bob, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Sure, happy to be here.
So why don't we start just kind of with the culture, because one of the accusations that's being leveled against all of these institutions within the justice system is that there's a culture problem. There's a culture problem with police. There's a culture problem at City Hall. There's a culture problem in the state's attorney's office. And one of the specifics underneath that allegation is the state's attorney's office is too close to the police because they work with police every day with respect to police coming to them with cases they want charged. And then there's decisions that have to be made. Felony review, which you headed up, needs to make decisions on cases involving violent crime, including cases involving police officers. And that cozy relationship prevents the Cook County State's Attorney's Office from properly overseeing and ultimately prosecuting Chicago police officers who've done wrong. What do you say to that?
I'd say it's more, rather than talk about a cozy relationship, I think it's really just a lack of leadership. Case like this, the Laquan McDonald case, deserves a sense of urgency on behalf of the victim, Laquan McDonald, his family, and the citizens of Cook County. I mean, and there's been absolutely no sense of urgency shown by the mayor, this state's attorney, the superintendent of police, or anybody in leadership.
Well, there was a sense of urgency in keeping it hidden from the public. And when Anita Alvarez finally did charge him, I think it was a wrong charge, not first-degree murder. I think it was second-degree murder, don't you?
No, I disagree. I think they learned from the Dante Servin case, and they should have known this. I mean, after 29 years as a prosecutor, she should know when to charge first-degree murder and when not to. The charge in this case is appropriate because it's simply this, that Officer Van Dyke fired into the body of Laquan McDonald and knew or should have known that his actions created a strong probability of death or great bodily harm. It's clear from the tape. It's clear from all the evidence.
So you mentioned
what brings you down to. Let me just finish.
Yeah, sure,
what brings you down to second degree is the phrase "without lawful justification." So Officer Van Dyke is obviously going to argue that he was called to the scene of a crazy man with a knife running down the street, stabbing, puncturing tires, and threatening the public. He ordered him to stop, and he was heading towards the neighborhood in defense of others. If I was defending him, it would be defense of others, and he fired in to stop him. The problem with that is, and the reason why the verdict will not be second degree, is shots 3 through 16. You can't explain, once he went down, unloading the gun and into him with 14 more shots. You just can't explain it. So, no, the appropriate charge in this case is first-degree murder, but way late in the game.
Excuse me, you mentioned another case, a servant case. We talked yesterday about the Ronnie Johnson case. Now the family and alleging that there's dash cam video in that case, too, that hasn't been released, that the city's been fighting for the last 13 months because the Ronnie Johnson shooting happened 8 days before the Laquan McDonald shooting. And that family and their attorney alleges that on the dash cam video, despite what police said, Ronnie Johnson was not armed with a weapon, and he was fleeing police like in a dead sprint, and he was shot in the back by the officer in question. And then the servant case as well that you mentioned. What is the problem? I mean, you said it's a leadership problem, but have we seen a string of cases involving police that have been, frankly, bungled by Anita Alvarez?
Yes, clearly bungled. It's embarrassing. So the Dante Servant case should have been charged first-degree murder with the same exact explanation I just gave. His actions, the officer's actions in that case, were intentional. He admits, I took a gun, I fired at a guy who I thought was reaching in his waistband for a gun, I missed and I hit somebody else. What the office did is they charged it as involuntary manslaughter, as a reckless act. And what Judge Porter said is he never even had to get to the issue of credibility of the witnesses or guilty versus non-guilty based on the evidence. What Judge Porter wrote in his opinion is, I never even had to get to that because the case was mischarged. They charged it as a reckless act when, by all accounts, the officer's actions were intentional.
So how many?
Going back to your point, it is a series of bungled cases. If you look at the John Reyna case, the 95-year-old man shot with the beanbags out in the nursing home.
Yeah.
What did they do? You have, by all accounts, a senior person at the scene ordering the police officer to fire the beanbags into the body of the man. They charge only the person who pulled the trigger, but they don't charge the guy who gave the order. Under the law of accountability, a first-year law student knows you'd have to charge both of them.
Right.
What signal were they sending to the judge on that bench trial? That we don't believe in this case. We just did it. A case would have never been charged if not for John Cass. If he didn't write article after article after article, that case doesn't get charged. Dante Servant doesn't get charged unless the media goes berserk after 2 years. You realize in the Dante Servant case, she charged the guy who reached in his waistband for 2 years with ag assault. And then with no evidence changing whatsoever other than pressure from the media and the black community, she flip-flops and charges Servant and then mischarges it.
So she loses the election and Kim Foxx say, that's just a person running against her wins. Do you think trust will be restored to the Cook County State's Attorney's Office?
Well, Kim Foxx isn't the only candidate in this race. Donna Moore is also in this race.
Right.
And so I think people have to know that. People have to give them both, also a shot at this. But change has to come. And I would hope that whoever wins the election in March, that this kind of stuff stops because it's embarrassing.
Let's go to the Laquan McDonald case specifically. With the video evidence that they had that was recovered, not just the dash cam video, but also the video from Burger King and, the other associated evidence that could be quickly gathered, officers at the scene that could be interviewed by the Cook County State's Attorney. How long should this investigation, in your experience, have taken?
Could have been wrapped up. I mean, seriously, it could have been wrapped up in a matter of days, no longer than a few weeks. I mean, really, what do you have to do? Okay, you get the tape, you start talking to the other police officers at the scene, you look at any other videotapes, you get the medical examiner's report, cause of death, the toxicology report. That might have taken some time, but you don't absolutely need it based on the videotape, and the case is over. So let's just, for the sake of argument, give her 100 days. What was she doing for the second 100 days, from 200 to 300? What was she doing from 300 to 400, just sitting on her hands? There is no reasonable explanation for this case not to be charged until a judge ordered the release of the tape, and then there's a flurry of activity, and she steps up and charges it hours before the tape's released. There is no good explanation.
There are so many curious aspects of this case, and one of them you just mentioned, the toxicology report. I don't think this has been reported, but there was some discrepancy. Not that this is determinative, but it's a contextual issue. Was there PCP in Laquan McDonald's system or not? And I understand, and again, I don't think this has been reported, but I understand from a pretty reliable source, the first toxicology report dated 12/11/14, which is a little less than 2 months after the shooting. He does not have PCP in the test results. The report was later amended on the end of March, 3/31/15, with positive PCP results.
How does that happen?
Is that unusual to have an amended toxicology report like that?
It is unusual. I'd like to actually know that happened as a fact, but the question I'd have for the medical examiner is, what did you look for in the first toxicology? Didn't you cover PCP? And if not, why not? And then why? Obviously, what prompted you to go back and check for PCP? Later on. But even talking about the toxicology, obviously that didn't affect her charging decision because when it did come back for PCP, she charged it. So that shouldn't explain any delay either.
Right. No, it's fair point. One other curious thing, just again, in your experience, since you did this for a lot of years, I know you're in private practice now, but spent a lot of years as a prosecutor in that office. This preemptive $5 million settlement City Hall authorized to Laquan McDonald's family, her mother, before, forget charging in terms of criminal charges, before even a wrongful death suit or a demand letter had been filed or sent to City Hall. Is that unusual?
It's bizarre. I mean, if you talk to personal injury lawyers across this county who have cases filed against the city of Chicago, they go years and years and years fighting egregious cases. And for them to hand over a $5 million check without a suit even being filed tells you just how horrendous this case was, but it tells you something else. Again, the lack of a sense of urgency on behalf of the victim and the people. So the mayor knows how bad it is. He hands over a $5 million check. A bunch of aldermen claim they don't even watch the tape when they hand over a $5 million check. The state's attorney of Cook County knows this happens and doesn't do anything.
It's almost as if it was hush money to the families to say, we'll give you this money, but we want you to urge the public to tell them that you don't want the tape released.
It's blood money.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's blood money. And think about it. I mean, in this day and age, they actually thought that thing wasn't going to get out. I don't care what order the judge signed. Well, in this day and age, no videotape. Videotape's coming out no matter what. So for them to think that they were going to bury this thing is crazy.
Well, see, that's the thing I'm perhaps the most incredulous about, other than the actual decision to open fire in the first place. And it's not just the Laquan McDonald case. Essentially, it's the same thing in the Ronnie Johnson case. They're trying to block and slow walk the release of a public record. I mean, as a Cook County State's attorney, can't you intervene and say, City Hall, what are you doing? This is a public record that is foiable. Release it. Let's be done with it.
Not only that, if you're the state's attorney of Cook County and you got a cop, you look at that video, and per her own statements, horrible, horrendous, tears at the heart of people. You look at that video 2 weeks after it happens, and you don't say, we got to get on this thing and get this guy off the streets ASAP. You don't know what he's capable of. If he's capable of putting 14 rounds into a kid while he's on the ground, what else could he have done? And if you don't have the sense of urgency to say, I'm in charge of this office, I'm in charge of this case, and I'm going to get this thing done promptly, and there's going to be a timeline on this thing, what are you thinking about? And same with the superintendent of police. He goes around saying, well, it was out of my hands. Wait a minute. You're the superintendent of the Chicago Police Department. You're telling me you can't go to the state attorney's office and say, this case is horrendous, we got to act on it right away. Mm-hmm. None of that happened. None of it. Because at the end of the day, they just didn't care.
And it's all, right. So they didn't care for whatever reason, politics or other larger concerns. But Bob Milan, former first assistant, Cook County State's Attorney's Office under Dick Devine. Bob, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
All right, have a good day.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Plenty of snowfall, heavier stuff out in McHenry County, northern Lake Cook. And we're going to have some more flurries this afternoon, a high of 38 degrees. Then tomorrow, partly sunny. The snow should melt, a high of 41 degrees. How's that inbound Kennedy, Jim? A hot mess?
Travel times tell it all, Amy. It is an hour and 21 minutes from O'Hare to downtown. The express lanes save about 8 minutes. Outbound, it's an hour and 10 minutes from downtown to the airport. Eden's inbound. Jammed Dempster to Elston with a crash, now on the right side. 53 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 40. The Eisenhower's an hour and 23 minutes from Thorndale to downtown, outbound an hour 11. Stevenson, an hour and 42 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Once you get to 355, delays start at 126. Outbound 54 minutes to the Veterans Memorial. Ryan, 40 minutes now, 95th to downtown. I-57, 40 minutes. I-80 to the Murray Bishop Ford, an hour. Lakeshore Drive southbound, Jan, Bryn Mawr to North Avenue, northbound from the Stevenson to Jackson. Northbound Tri-State stop and go from the Calsag Bridge 31st, from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Reagan Tollway, heavy delays. Randall, much of the way to 355 and 83 to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial from Archer, most of the way to St. Charles, and Army Trail to 290. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
The Gun Safety Guy's mission is pure and simple: to help good people safely enjoy recreational shooting and improve their ability to protect themselves and their family responsibly. This is what Pastor Ed Bryant, the Gun Safety Guy, has built for you and your family. Pastor Bryant's background and experience enables him to communicate with all of his students, no matter what their age, gender, or ability. New shooters learn the fundamentals. Experienced shooters develop their skills. Above everything, all shooters are taught to value safety first. Family-friendly firearms instruction is the core of the Gun Safety Guy, and I took his basic pistol class. I'm kind of an intermediate shooter, and very good, and I can attest to safety being the preeminent concern of the Gun Safety Guy. So
I'm a better bowler.
His name fits. Yeah, well, you should get to the range too. But we're gonna get to bowling before the year's out. Mark my word. And you can also give the gift of firearm safety this holiday season. Go to the range, then go to the bowling alley. Gift certificates are available. Learn more at thegunsafetyguy.com, thegunsafetyguy.com. Family-friendly firearms instruction with NRA-certified instructor Pastor Ed Bryant. He is thegunsafetyguy.com.
Raj Shah of Secure Capital Management was proud to co-sponsor Freedom Summit Chicago. While there, Raj met with a lot of 560 AM listeners. The same two things kept coming up. First, concern about what the future holds for Wall Street, taxes, and Social Security. And second, people wondering, is there anything more I can do to grow and protect my money? Raj can help you answer that question with a complimentary year-end review. Are there ways to dial back the risk you're taking while still getting a reasonable return? Are you maximizing your 401k? Are you paying unnecessary fees? And how will the coming Social Security changes affect your retirement planning? These are some of the areas Raj helps his clients with every single day. Call Secure Capital Management at 800-211-1962. Schedule your complimentary year-end review. Find us online, securecapitalusa.com. And don't forget to listen for Secure Retirement Radio every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, licensed in Illinois.
I'm Lex, CEO of Balance of Nature. At Balance of Nature, we believe in real communication. Whether you call into the office or hear a success story on the radio, you can be sure it's real, unsolicited, and unscripted conversation.
I had anemia. And that's when I got on to Balance of Nature. Then when I came off it, I got anemia again. That's one of the reasons I got back on it. I said, you know what, let me call them up and let me start doing the right thing. I made a mistake by getting off it. I think this is a good product, and I'm going to just stick with it.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
Hunger does not take a holiday, and 1 in 5 American children face the prospect of hunger on a regular basis. We here at AM 560 have partnered up with Feed the Children to help raise money. What's raised here stays here. And our goal this year is to feed 18,000 children in and around Chicago this holiday season. Call 866-435-2248. That's 866-435-2248. And if you're a small business owner, or if you make the marketing decisions for your company, listen up. We have a business benefactor program. If you make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children as a way of saying thanks, we will give you 40 60-second commercials that will air primetime right here on AM 560. The Answer. Call our sales manager, Michael Mann, the best in the business. Call Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527. Again, that's 847-871-1527. And thanks in advance for your generosity.
And now, a moment of objectivism with your Ron Brook and the Ayn Rand Institute.
People say the government needs to fight income inequality, but what does that mean? Let's say you wanted equality in basketball. Now, how are you going to make me and LeBron James equal? I mean, here's one of the best basketball players in the world, someone who's spent years developing his skills and who obviously has some physical advantages. So how are you going to make us equal? Well, you could tie LeBron's hands behind his back, but even that wouldn't do it. I'm really bad at basketball. Basically, you'd have to break his legs too. Making people equal means resorting to physical force. It means breaking legs. That can't be right. To learn more, visit ARIradio.com. From the Ayn Rand Institute, I'm Yaron Brook.
This has been a moment of objectivism from the Ayn Rand Institute. To learn more, listen to the Yaron Brook Show, Saturdays at 4 on AM 560, and visit ARIradio.com.
Why are Ayn Rand's ideas so compelling? Her worldview, her philosophy, expressed dramatically in her novels Atlas Shrugged and The Fountainhead, embodies the ideals stated by the Founding Fathers in the Declaration of Independence and sets forth the requirements necessary to achieve a flourishing life. She called her philosophy objectivism and said it was a philosophy for living on Earth. Today, decades after her death, objectivism continues to stir debate and inspire passion for the spirit of individualism and the enduring American dream.
Here's some great news. Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates can help you with your retirement game plan. You know Jack, or you should. Jack is the president and founder of Tabota & Associates. He's been helping folks just like you retire successfully for 3 decades. Jack has the insight, information, strategies, and experience you can use to build wealth and keep it. Live good. Retire well with Jack Tabota of Tabota & Associates. 630-777-7955. 630-777-7955.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, Officer Jason Van Dyke. What has he been doing since he's bonded out? We'll speak exclusively with his attorney.
And at 8:38, we talked to iconic Chicago weatherman and co-founder of the Weather Channel, John Coleman, and ask him whether those junk scientists in Paris are going to save the world.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, early morning snow is really having an impact on today's commute. Snow showers in the forecast, and WIND Chicago News Time is 8 o'clock.
News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. Don't wait until they come after us. That's one argument being made as Britain's parliament debates airstrikes on ISIS in Syria. Fox News Radio's Simon Owen, live in London.
Lisa, British Prime Minister David Cameron asking lawmakers here to back expanding British airstrikes, which currently only hit targets in Iraq.
These terrorists are plotting to kill us and to radicalize our children right now.
Cameron saying allies, including the US, are requesting British help. But the leader of the opposition Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, saying Cameron hasn't made a convincing case.
It's becoming increasingly clear that the Prime Minister's proposals for military action simply do not stack up.
A vote expected later today. Lisa?
Thanks, Simon. The U.S. sending dozens more special ops forces to Iraq, and Donald Trump criticizing the Obama administration for announcing such deployments.
It's like they have a target on their back. If you do your job, do your job. Don't talk about it. Too much talk.
He's still the Republican frontrunner in a new national Quinnipiac poll, 10 points ahead of new number 2, Marco Rubio, at 17%. Yahoo might sell itself. The Wall Street Journal reporting the board of directors is considering a sale of Yahoo's core internet business.
The report says the board will reconsider the future of Yahoo's core business in several upcoming meetings. Yahoo appears to be sticking to its plans to spin off its 15% stake in Alibaba early next year, even after the IRS declined to approve the spinoff, risking a huge tax bill for the move. That stake is worth $32 billion to Yahoo.
Fox Business Network's Jolene Kent. The E. coli-driven recall that started with Costco chicken salad is now expanded to a long list of other products that use celery from California-based Taylor Farms Pacific. Things like salad kits, even a Starbucks sandwich because of the stuffing in it. The stores affected expanding to Walmart, Target, and other big chains. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Light snow showers, 32 degrees at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Brace yourself if you head out of the driveway today, out of your nice and warm garage, and you head into snow. Well, meteorologists say cool temps, rain, and snow are headed for the entire Chicago area. Lake Zurich checking in with 2.5 inches of snow already this morning, about a half inch at Midway. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel named an interim police chief until a permanent replacement is found. Chief of Detectives John Escalante will oversee the department after the firing of Gary McCarthy. Meantime, the Illinois Attorney General is requesting the Justice Department begin a civil rights investigation into the Chicago Police Department. Lisa Madigan says she would like the feds to look into whether there are patterns of discrimination within the force's practices. The family of another man fatally shot by Chicago police in 2014 is pressuring city officials to release squad car video of that shooting involving 25-year-old Ronald Johnson. Family attorney Michael Oppenheimer says the footage will dispute claims by authorities that Ronald Johnson had a gun.
You can clearly see his hands in the video. He is running what I would term to be full speed straight ahead. He never turns, he never points, and there's nothing in his hand.
Attorney Michael Oppenheimer says he's seen a copy of the video because lawsuits have been filed. An autopsy scheduled later today for a man killed by a CTA Blue Line train. Police say the man was struck last night near the Austin station, close to Oak Park. Governor Bruce Rauner closed the public portion of yesterday's budget summit with a plea to take on what he says are the root causes of Illinois' financial woes. Talks between Rauner and Democrat House Speaker Mike Madigan and Senate President John Cullerton continue. The news, a service of UPSJobs.com, seeking part-time package handlers in Northbrook and Palatine, offering competitive pay and benefits, including up to $25,000 in educational assistance. UPS actively promotes from within. Apply today at UPSJobs.com/radio. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Kieran McHugh.
From the Fox Business Network, financial stocks gave a boost to Wall Street Tuesday, the first day of the new month. The Dow rose 168 points, closing at 17,888. Today, Asian markets were uneven. Benchmark crude fell to $41.50 per barrel. The dollar gained against the euro and the yen. 2 economic reports will be out today. The Labor Department releases its revised third-quarter productivity data. Then this afternoon, the Fed releases its Beige Book, a guide to be used by Fed policymakers when they meet later in the month to set interest rates. Sporting goods sellers Cabela's may be looking for a buyer for all or part of its chain of stores. They've been under pressure since last October when the investment firm Elliott Management bought a 6% stake and called for some strategic changes from the company. Shares of Cabela's are down 11% this year, but have risen more than 18% on speculation of a buyout. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Karen McHugh.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
At this time of fear and uncertainty across the world, Americans are turning to their president for leadership and assurance. What? He said what?
What I'm not interested in doing is posing or pursuing some notion of American leadership or America winning or whatever other slogans they come up with.
Wow. Okay, so keep listening to find out what President Obama says next. Right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Are you living with prostate enlargement? Do you pee more often than you used to? Do you wake up to go? Be honest. Is there a drop in your romantic life? Prostate problems don't go away on their own, so you need to call for a free bottle of Super Beta Prostate, the #1 non-prescription formula for your prostate. The ingredients are natural. With Super Beta Prostate, you'll have less urges to urinate, less waking at night, and an improvement in your romantic life, guaranteed. Try it for free. Pay only shipping and handling. Just call 1-800-317-7593. Super Beta Prostate is so powerful, you'd have to take 100 saw palmetto capsules to get the same active ingredient in just one Super Beta Prostate tablet. Stop running to the bathroom and call us now for your free bottle. Hurry, this free offer won't last. Just call 1-800-317-7593. That's 1-800-317-7593. 1-800-317-7593.
8:06 in our Chicago RadioDeals.com traffic center. Let's get the latest with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Kennedy is even heavier now. It is an hour and a half from O'Hare to downtown, 50 minutes from Montrose, 35 on the Express, outbound an hour and 10 minutes downtown to the airport. Edens, 46 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound an hour. About Eisenhower, an hour and 17 minutes, Thorndale to the Loop, outbound an hour 11. Stevenson, an hour and 34 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 54 minutes. Ryan is 40 minutes, 95th to downtown, Lakeshore Drive southbound. Jan Bryn Mawr to North Avenue, 45 minutes, Hollywood to Monroe, northbound slow from the Stevenson to Jackson. Tri-State southbound at slow from 132 to 176. Northbound stop and go from the Cal-Sag Bridge to the around 31st, and from the Reagan Tollway much of the way to the Adams Tollway. Reagan Tollway Stop and Go Randall, much of the way to 355 and 83 to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial jammed Archer most of the way to St. Charles and Army Trail to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solutions provider. Here's meteorologist Kevin Snyder.
Morning snow showers followed by an afternoon flurry. High today 38, then a partly cloudy night, low 26. Tomorrow partial sunshine with a high 40 and a clear night, low 26. Then sunshine Friday, high of 45. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560 The Answer.
Currently 32 and snow at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 8:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
Good morning. Welcome to your Wednesday morning briefing. Here's what you need to know to start your day.
Tonight, protesters celebrating the firing of Chicago's top cop, Gary McCarthy. Their demand for change escalated after a video showing a police officer shooting Laquan McDonald was released.
I'm grateful for his service to the city.
I want to express my appreciation to him for making a change in leadership, but I think you have to understand that that's just the beginning.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. All right, we're going to do a little moot court here, and let's get right to it. We're now joined by Dan Herbert, who is the attorney representing Chicago police officer Jason Van Dyke in the Laquan McDonald shooting. Dan Herbert, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
So let me just start with, before we get to how many shots, let's start with the first shot. And the question that a lot of people are posing, if the defense is going to be reasonably feared for his safety/life, Officer Van Dyke, why did he open fire, and why is it reasonable that he believed that his safety was in jeopardy when other officers on the scene did not?
Well, as I've explained a lot throughout the past week, nobody was in the perspective that my client was in. He was in a position where he certainly was the most vulnerable. He was closest to the individual. He did not have any shielding, and he, unlike most of the officers, didn't have any ability to retreat. Also, he was in a position where he had a lot of knowledge about the situation that occurred prior to him coming into the situation. So his reason and his justification was based upon all the factors leading up to him exiting his vehicle and the actions that he observed just prior to him making the decision to shoot.
Let's talk about the actions leading up to that moment where he stepped out of the car. 18 minutes, I've been told from different sources that they said that he was terrorizing, Laquan was terrorizing business owners, stabbing police cars. What exactly happened?
That's a pretty good description of it. He was just essentially walking through the neighborhood in a crazed state, waving a knife and threatening people with his actions. He actually, at one point, the police were following him, waiting for this situation to end peacefully. They gave him a lot of opportunities, and at one point he had essentially attacked the police car where the police officers were sitting in and essentially stabbed their windshield.
Did your client have a laser to take him down?
A taser?
Taser, excuse me.
Taser. He did not. And as a matter of fact, there was requests made over the air if anyone had a taser, and nobody had a taser. So, and that is another factor that went into my client's mindset at the point in which he decided to shoot.
So the vandalism, the breaking into cars, the stabbing police car, where did this occur? Where did the 911 call come from? Because there's been a lot of rumor and innuendo being spread about this case. I just kind of want to get some facts established here. Was it like the 41st and Kildare area, or where was it?
Yeah, it was that area. And from my understanding, there was multiple phone calls that were being made to 911 about the actions that were being conducted. And just a quick differentiation between the word vandalism. It really was more than vandalism. I mean, this was, an individual that was, the important point is not that he punctured a squad car tire and stabbed at a windshield. It's the fact that this individual was attacking a vehicle that was manned by armed police officers. So the vandalism really is, I understand your characterization of it, but the vandalism aspect of it really didn't play any role in the use of force.
Now, many people are asking why 16 rounds? Why did he empty his clip? But Kevin Williamson wrote a great article in National Review, and he noted that cops are taught to aim for the chest and to empty their clip. Can you tell me exactly why your client, are you at liberty to say why he unloaded his clip?
Yeah, I certainly can't get into all the details that will be part of our defense because I'm not going to try it in the media. But police officers are taught that they are to shoot until the threat is eliminated, and obviously there is one of the big arguments here is that, well, shots continued to be fired after this individual fell to the ground. And I would just state that, it's not unusual necessarily that shots continue to be fired when somebody's on the ground, and it's not unusual when shots are fired when into people's backs. And the reason behind this, and I've had actually a lot of training on this use of force, and I've spoken to people that are much more knowledgeable about it than I am. But when a police officer sees a threat and makes the decision to use deadly force, there is a slight delay from the expression they use is that we look with our eyes, but we see with our brain. And the point is that there's a slight pause between the time in which they make the decision to use deadly force and then they physically use the deadly force. And also important with the 16 shots is, which the public doesn't realize because they wouldn't, but police officers can fire weapons extremely quickly. Even the average police officer with average skills in handling a firearm can fire 16 shots in 4 seconds or less. This case, there is a pause in between. There's essentially two separate volleys of shots. And
isn't that a problem, though? Because after 2 shots, he's down, particularly the pause. Isn't that a problem?
Well, that was certainly I was more concerned about that, the volley of shots after the pause. When I first saw this video, it's more problematic from the standpoint that the individual is down. However, the dynamics had changed at that point. My client had, without getting too much into details, he had made the decision to approach this individual and get the knife out of his hands and put him in handcuffs, and he shortened his distance from anywhere from 10 to 15 feet when he originally shot. We think it's a little bit more like 10. He had shortened it to within 6 feet, and the individual made an action that my client interpreted as this individual was intending to get up and stab him. So
your client didn't shoot him because he was black, and he didn't kill him. I mean, he killed him because he was a crazed, knife-wielding, drug-induced thug.
Yeah, and a lot of people have made a point about the race of the individual and the race of the policeman, and we understand that, but it's incredibly likely that my client, when he exited the vehicle, he had no idea what race this individual was, unless he knew it from the 911 calls before, and that's because the physics take over, and when a police officer is involved in a use of deadly force situation, they go into what's called it's like a tunnel vision, but they call it focal vision, and it essentially narrows your line of vision to about 2 to 4 degrees, and your focal vision is narrowed to the threat, and in this case, it was likely narrowed to Mr. McDonald's hand holding the knife in truly he would not have seen much more than that out of his focal vision. So race, it's a sexy story for the media, but it truly is not relevant in this case.
I understand with respect to the toxicology report that it was amended. I don't know if you can confirm or deny this, but I understand that there was a toxicology report dated 12/11/14 that finds Laquan McDonald did not have PCP in his system. That report later amended on March 31st of 2015 to say that he did test positive for PCP. Is that accurate?
We haven't seen the evidence in this case. I've heard the same rumors that you have, but until we see the evidence, I just can't comment on it. But a lot of the times, I have seen it in my career as an attorney and a prosecutor and a policeman that sometimes they will test for different things in a subsequent test, and that will reveal different results. So.
Yeah, Officer Jason Van Dyke bonded out late Monday night. Is your client obviously aware that Gary McCarthy was fired, and what was his reaction?
We didn't even talk about that. We did not talk about Gary McCarthy's firing in the least bit. He certainly has much more important things to worry about than the fate of Gary McCarthy.
Yeah, and how is he doing? Is he in hiding, and what about his wife and kids?
They're doing well. They're very concerned about what's facing them, but they're hanging in there, and they're trying to go about their daily life as best as they can, but they know that their life is probably never going to be the same again. But they're hanging in there, and they're being very professional. So quite frankly, I'm proud of them.
What about the 13 months? Forget from the investigative perspective, but the 13 months he was on desk duty. You have Anita Alvarez, Gary McCarthy, former police superintendent Gary McCarthy now, Rahm Emanuel, all in the last week since the video was released, which they previously knew about, at least some of them certainly did, suggesting it was grotesque, it was awful, it was disturbing, that Rahm saying one person needs to be held accountable for what happened, and he's talking about your client, Jason Van Dyke. What was his experience over the last 13 months with all of those superiors and inside the police department and the Cook County State's Attorney's Office up until that dash cam video was released last week?
It's a good question. Sometimes, and we talked about this, me and Jason, sometimes the not knowing is worse than knowing. And there's almost a sense of relief when we know what we're facing. But it was difficult. I understand what the mayor was doing, and I don't agree with how he indicted my client essentially before he even saw the videotape. But I understand what he's doing. He's trying to protect the city. I don't like it, but it's reality. With the state's attorney's office, she did not have a very good week. I'm sure she would like to hit the rewind button. And I don't like how it's been handled.
And did you know that your client was in trouble? I mean, did you realize it when you found out that the city just offered the family $5 million without them even filing or even sending a demand letter?
Yeah, we certainly realize that that was an odd situation, and I do plaintiff work as well, and that's an odd scenario. But it told me as Jason's criminal lawyer that once this thing came out, it was going to create problems.
Has Jason expressed any remorse or regret about what happened?
He feels horrible. And I've represented probably a couple hundred police officers that have been involved in deadly force, and they all feel horrible about it, and they manifest it in different ways. But yes, he feels terrible that he took another individual's life. However, that does not change his belief that he acted appropriately. If he had things to do different again, I'm sure he would have just blown off the assignment and went to get a cup of coffee instead of go there. But the fact of the matter is, he responded, and he did what he believed he needed to do based upon his training and what he was experiencing. And at the end of the day, whether his actions were right or wrong, a judge or a jury is going to decide that. And I think me and Jason, he believes he acted appropriately, but we understand, our opinions and the opinions of the public, for that matter, really don't matter. It's the opinion of the ultimate trier of fact in this case.
And Dan Herbert, just before we let you go quickly, jury or judge, which is it going to be? Your call.
Good question. We have to see. We have to see a lot of things before we make that decision, and we certainly have a lot of time to make that decision. So it'll be a game time decision, and we'll see how it plays out.
Dan Herbert, attorney representing Officer Jason Van Dyke. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
We didn't ask him about his suit that he wore the other day. Pinstripe suit with a green tie.
From the Steve Harvey collection.
Yeah. Here's your forecast for today. Some new snow on the ground, depending on where you live, from a dusting up to an inch. We're going to have some flurries again this afternoon, a high of 38 degrees. Then tomorrow, partly sunny, warmer, a high of 41. That inbound Kennedy, is it still a mess, Jim Telemonte?
No relief yet, Amy and Dan. It's an hour and a half from O'Hare to downtown, 50 minutes from Montrose, 35 in the Express. Outbound still an hour and 10 minutes to O'Hare. Eden's 46 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound a full hour. The Eisenhower, an hour and a half from Thorndale to downtown. Outbound an hour and 7 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 24 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 46 minutes. The Ryan, 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 40 minutes. I-80 to the Merge Bishop Ford, an hour. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, just a mess from Bryn Mawr to North Avenue. Northbound slow from the Stevenson to Jackson. Tri-State with delays. Southbound 132 to 176. And from the Adams Tollway to Grand Avenue. Northbound, the Calsag Bridge, 31st. And from the Reagan Tollway, much of the way to the Adams Tollway. Reagan Veterans Memorial still very heavy also. Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
I know you want to work with a Chicagoland real estate agent with qualified buyers who can guarantee to sell your home. That's why you should call Saul Z and the Z team. If 29 days pass without a sale on your listing, Saul will buy it or help you rent it. And working with Saul won't obligate you to anything. If you aren't happy, you just cancel the contract. Saul literally has buyers lined up and ready to buy due to his aggressive and innovative marketing program. For example, Ward had a home in Jefferson Park and heard about Saul Z from a colleague and was so impressed by Saul's marketing plan that he listed his home for $225,000 with Saul. It sold in 7 days for $30,000 over the asking price. Maybe that's why the Wall Street Journal ranks Saul number 106 out of 1.2 million agents in the country, because Saul sells over 300 homes per year on average, many more times than the average real estate agent. I know I'll be calling Saul when I'm ready to sell my well-appointed condo or buy a new home. So go to callsaul.net. That's callsaul.net to find out what your home's worth, or call Saul directly at 888-346-0666. That number, 888-346-0666, and start packing.
Townstone Financial is synonymous with great rates, low closing costs, and phenomenal service to the thousands who have completed purchases and refinances with us since 2002. Hi, my name is Barry Sterner, owner of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from one of our customers.
Hi, I'm Vito Parisi, president of the STM Group. We have trusted Barry with other family members. My sister-in-law, Christine, my cousin Tricia have used Barry. You know, we don't watch what's going on with rates day in and day out. I'm very busy running a business, and Barry and his group is very proactive, notifying us if the market is moving. We really trust him and value his opinion, and really appreciate his nonstop work ethic.
Remember, nobody values your business more than Townstone Financial, and I'm always available to answer your questions. Call me now, Barry Sterner, at 312-896-2111. That's 312-896-2111. Or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financials, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois, mortgage licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639, equal housing lender.
This is Dan Proft with an Upstream Idea, brought to you in part by the Illinois Policy Institute. 97. That's the percentage of Chicago Teachers Union members who voted yes in a recent mock vote. Yes, they voted. They are prepared to go out on strike for the second time in 4 years. The annual average CPS teacher salary is just under $80,000. And that's before you include their health insurance benefits and guaranteed seven-figure pensions. The bankrupt, junk-rated Chicago public schools spend more than $15,000 annually per pupil, and yet 75% of 4th and 8th graders are neither proficient in reading nor math. This in a system of nearly 400,000 students. So who's the bad guy here? Is it the teachers union or the mayor's office? Yes, there are no white hats in the story of central planners from City Hall fighting with the central planners from the teachers union over who gets to be the lead central planner at CPS. If the teachers strike, they deserve to be unlocked from their jobs. CPS students deserve access to schools that will give them the opportunity to earn an education that sets them on a course for success in life. The The only way that happens is if the adults inside CPS, the parents, and the adults outside CPS, state political leaders, change the flow of money away from central planners and to families so that they may make the same choices for their children that Tiny Dancer did for his kids matriculating at the University of Chicago Lab School. For more ideas like this, visit upstream-ideas.com. I'm Dan Prout.
My name is Dr. Howard. I've recommended Balance of Nature for over 15 years because of the excellent results I see in my patients. Balance of Nature doesn't make any claims of treating or curing any particular disease, but I think the results speak for themselves.
I hate veggies, so this was a perfect way to get vitamins and veggies that worked with my body.
I do feel better, but as far as health-wise goes, I used to have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I'm not doing that anymore. The ringing in my ear is a lot less than what it used to be. Those are the two things right away that I noticed, and I'm not as hungry as I used to be also.
When you can give your body a full variety of 31 different fruits and vegetables in their 100% natural, whole food form, you receive the unmatched balance of nutrition. Call toll-free 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com and be sure to enter promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Christmas is the season to give, and we here at AM 560 have teamed up once again with Feed the Children to help raise money for those in need. And we're asking for a one-time donation of $76 to help feed 16 hungry children this holiday season. And our goal is to feed 18,000 children in and around the Chicago area. So your money what's raised here stays here to help shelters, pantries in the city, and also the surrounding suburbs. Call this number if you'd like to make a one-time donation, 866-435-2248, 866-435-2248. And you can also become a business benefactor, a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children will help feed the needy, but also as a way of saying thanks, we will give you 40 60-second commercials that will run Monday through Friday during prime time right here on AM 560. For the Business Benefactor Program, call Michael Mann directly at 847-871-1527. Again, that's 847-871-1527.
Coming up, your favorite Chicago weatherman and mine, the iconic John Coleman, who's also the co-founder of the Weather Channel. He joins us to talk about that junk science fair in Paris at 8:38.
But first, let's go back into the newsroom and say hello once again to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, the University of North Carolina seconds ago issuing an all clear after reports of an armed man on campus. Threat is over. Campus police spokesman Randy Young says the alert was issued around 8:45 Eastern time when someone reported seeing an armed man near the Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps Center on campus. Sirens were sounded. Students and faculty were sheltered in place for a time, but again, an all clear sounded this morning at the University of North Carolina. British Prime Minister David Cameron has opened debate in Parliament on whether his country will take part in airstrikes in Syria.
The House should be under no illusion. These terrorists are plotting to kill us and to radicalize our children right now. They attack us because of who we are, not because of what we do.
Cameron insisting Britain would make a real difference in the fight against ISIS terrorists. The Olympic waters in Rio de Janeiro are more widely contaminated by sewage than previously known. They pose a great threat, according to investigators, to athletes' health ahead of next year's games. That according to new testing commissioned by the Associated Press. A jury could be seated as soon as today in the manslaughter trial of a Baltimore police officer charged in the death of Freddie Gray. Gray's death from injuries suffered in a police van last April sparked unrest in that town. A recall based on an E. coli scare that began with chicken salad sold at Costco stores is spreading. Food and Drug Administration expanding the recall to more than a dozen states. Now includes products sold at Walmart, Sam's Club, Safeway, Albertsons, 7-Eleven, and Target. Brace yourself for the morning snow, and we have had some snow. 3.5 inches in Woodstock. Lake Zurich checking in with 2.5 inches of snow this morning. 1.5 inches at O'Hare, less than a half inch reported at Midway and Romeoville. Mayor Rahm Emanuel names an interim police chief until a permanent replacement is found for the fired police superintendent Gary McCarthy. Chief of Detectives John Escalante oversees the department on an interim basis. The family of another man fatally shot by Chicago police in 2014, is now pressing city officials to release that squad car video of that shooting. Chicago police have said 25-year-old Ronald Johnson was fatally shot by an officer on October 12th of 2014. A 21-year-old accused of threatening to kill white students or staff members at the University of Chicago is out of jail. Jabari Dean was put under house arrest by a federal judge in the custody of his mother. And Senator Mark Kirk will have two challengers in next year's Republican primary. Oswego's James Martyr and Elizabeth Paulke of Arlington Heights have filed paperwork to run against Kirk. Chicago sports. Wild over the Blackhawks 2-1. Patrick Kane does extend his point streak to 20 games. The news, a service of UPSJobs.com, now seeking part-time package handlers in Northbrook and Palatine, offering competitive pay and benefits including up to $25,000 in educational assistance. UPS actively promotes from within. Apply today at UPSJobs.com/radio. 8:33 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
It's easy to take your commercial HVAC system for granted. It's always there, keeping your building comfortably warm or cool. Until you have a system failure. With another unforgiving Chicago winter just around the corner, now's the time to have a comprehensive review of your mechanical HVAC system. And you don't want just anyone. You want Air Comfort, Chicagoland's leading mechanical professionals. For over 80 years, Air Comfort has delivered its customers the best trained and highly skilled team of award-winning technicians. That's why Air Comfort is recognized as Star Certified by the MSCA, a designation achieved by only 2% of contractors nationwide. With a service fleet of more than 80 fully equipped vehicles, chances are that an Air Comfort technician is nearby. Schedule your system check by calling now, 708-345-1900. That's 708-345-1900 or online at aircomfort.com.
Are you or someone you know facing foreclosure, losing the family home? You'd be not alone. See, people, we are in the aftermath of what is being revealed to have been the greatest financial crime spree in history, perpetrated by the Wall Street investment banks smuggling and packaging mortgages, and continuing this day by the mortgage servicers that service those mortgages. I'm Lou Bridges. I have a law firm I put together. We defend foreclosure actions. We help people do strategic defaults, short sales, and modifications that include restructuring. Call us for a free consultation. We'll tell you what to look for in hiring a foreclosure defense attorney. We'll tell you some of your options. We'll give you a free consultation. But whatever you do, people, never give up the land. Fight for truth and justice. You do that, and I guarantee you'll never be alone.
Call 224-513-1231 or visit FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. That's 224-513-1231 or FightIllinoisForeclosures.com. Get real answers from a real foreclosure defense law firm.
The most recent U.S. Supreme Court decision on the Affordable Care Act made one thing certain. We will all have to deal with this ever-changing law until at least 2017. If you're tired of calling a bureaucrat at an 800 number to help you navigate Obamacare, then you need a local expert on your side. That's right, your own health insurance mentor. C. Stephen Tucker from healthinsurancementors.com is someone I know and trust. He's a 20-year licensed broker who's been educating AM 560 listeners on the Affordable Care Act for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Dan. If you have a pre-existing condition, a canceled plan, or your premium increased, now's the time to get covered. 2016
what I would say to
a
young man or woman is that
window, you cannot be denied coverage. Depending on your income, you
regardless
may
of
find a
your
more affordable
religious
plan. The new healthcare law is very complicated and you do need guidance. It costs you nothing to use a broker, so why not tap into my expertise?
Thanks, Steve. How can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can visit
fellow
healthinsurancementors.com or call me directly
Let's
at
remember we face greater threats
634-1551.
to our way of life
That's
before.
630-674-1551.
8:37. Let's get an update on the roads in our ChicagoRadioDeals.com traffic center, and here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. The inbound Edens has delays starting around Pratt, 41 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound an hour. Kennedy, an hour and 21 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, outbound a full hour. Eisenhower is an hour and 24 minutes from Thorndale to the Loop. About an hour and 7 minutes. Stevenson, an hour and 24 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 46 minutes. The Ryan, 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, still a mess from Bryn Mawr to North Avenue. Southbound Tri-State, slow 132 to 176. The Adams Tollway to Grand Avenue. Northbound delays from Calsag Bridge to 31st. The Reagan Tollway to North Avenue, and from the Bensonville Bridge to the Adams Tollway. Adams Tollway heavy, 59 to Beecham and Toohey to Lee. Reagan Tollway, Orchard to Eola. Naperville Road to Findlay and Roosevelt to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial, slow I-55 most of the way to St. Charles, and Army Trail to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center. Air Comfort, your commercial HVAC solution provider. Snow showers this morning, flurries this afternoon, and a high near 38. 33 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Advanced Planning Advisors, bringing you Smart Money Talk with Mike Moylan and Rob Curvin, Saturday mornings at 6.
Dan and Amy, so the Junk Science Fair in Paris, have we not been hearing these pronouncements for the last 15 years? Here's President Obama.
And we salute the people of Paris for insisting this crucial conference go on. An act of defiance that proves nothing will deter us from building the future we want for our children.
And he went on in subsequent speeches, the speechifying, talk about carbon emissions, speechifying in Paris. He went on to say, unchecked climate change would mean, I'm quoting the president, submerged countries, abandoned cities, and fields that no longer grow. Now, just a little bit of context. This is from a good Charles Cook piece, National Review Online. In 2009, Al Gore told us the entire North Polar ice cap during some of the summer months will be completely ice-free within the next 5 to 7 years. Not exactly. Now they're projecting middle of the 21st century, all of their models and the predictive value. A year before that, ABC News reported that come June of 2015, New York City would be underwater. I'm not making this up. New York City would be underwater.
Come on.
This is what they reported.
Such hyperbole. All right, and then what?
Gas would cost $9 a gallon, and a carton of milk would set consumers back almost $13.
It's $1.99.
Not exactly. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change chairman, this back in 2007, if there's no action before 2012 on climate change, that's too late. End of days. I mean, do we get tired of the apocalyptic predictions? I think the American public does, and I think they pay it little mind. The problem is the ruling class Pauls do, and they're advancing, spending our money on Solyndra, and otherwise trying to regulate the minutia of our life, because that's what this is really a predicate for, is control. But for more on this, let's talk to an expert on the science side of it, and he is our friend John Coleman, iconic Chicago weatherman. Of course, we all grew up watching John Coleman.
Loved him.
Ageless. And also the co-founder of the Weather Channel, and also affiliated with the Heartland Institute. John Coleman, thanks so much for joining us again. Appreciate it.
As long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Oh, the dulcet tones of John Coleman. He must know what's happening in Chicago. Of course he does. He's omniscient.
Yes, 3 inches in McHenry, yes.
Winter's unfolding, maybe even an inch of snow before the day is over.
Which is all evidence of climate change and the end of the world, John.
Well, I am just overwhelmed with amazement that this great folly continues. Think about it. 185 nations, 30,000 people, the biggest international conference in all history, and it's all based on a failed theory. There is no significant man-made global warming now, hasn't been any in the past, isn't going to be any in the future. It is just amazing that this absolute folly of science, this terrible distortion of the science I love, this absolute atrocity to good science continues. And thank you for putting it on the air, and thank you for telling people how silly it is. I don't know when we're going to defeat it, perhaps not in my lifetime. It's like David battling Goliath, but I don't give up. I keep battling every day.
But President Obama did say yesterday that there's an Alaska town, because he went to visit Alaska, and he said it was, the sea level rose in that town. The people there had to escape to higher ground.
Pure silliness. Look, the Earth is a dynamic ball out here in space, and there are places that sink and places that rise. There are places where the water rises, places where the water diminishes, and it has nothing whatsoever to do with the activities of man and the burning of fossil fuels and the creation of carbon dioxide, which Al Gore calls tons and tons of carbon spewing into the atmosphere. Heck, it's an essential gas to life. It's invisible, it's tasteless, it's odorless, and it is a tiny fraction of 0.5% of the atmosphere after all these years of burning of fossil fuels, and it is not causing any significant warming. This whole theory has totally failed, and they just won't give up.
Yeah, the interesting thing to me is the left, the intellectual left in particular, prides themselves on being so science-focused. They're reasoned, and they want evidence, and they rely on science to explain the mysteries of the universe to them. And yet the researchers on that side are unwilling, as in the case of NOAA, for example, to provide the basis for their research so it can be peer reviewed. I mean, so they just kind of default to the conversation is over, the debate is over. Anytime it seems to me that somebody says the debate is over on any topic, it means they're unwilling or unable to defend their own position. And maybe those that are a little bit more sensible and actually driven by the evidence, actually driven by science, should prosecute this a little bit more aggressively rather than just be on their heels to the media, always asking, are you a climate change denier? Are you a climate change denier?
Remember that NOAA is a government bureau and has been totally overwhelmed by politics. The people throughout NOAA have been told, you don't say a word on this topic or you'll lose your job. I mean, the threat is clear and strong. So they can't say anything no matter what they think. You mentioned Heartland Institute there in Chicago. What a great organization. They have brought together a group of PhD scientists who have produced the Non-Governmental Panel on Climate Change, 1,000-page book, and they're putting out the 4th edition this week. They're in Paris right now introducing it. And that 1,000-page book is online. It's a PDF form. You want to open 1,000 pages of PDF on your computer? Well, do it if you want, because it's all there, totally debunking the global warming silliness.
John Coleman,
horrific.
I would have loved to have been in the room when you found out, or that you heard that President Obama said the climate change conference is a way to fight ISIS.
Well, that's shocking that the sense of values gets so widely distorted. But you got to understand that the Democrat Party, since Al Gore, has been totally engaged in the climate change debate. And if you're a Democrat, you must believe and you must buy into it. And Mr. Obama, bless his heart, has no scientific knowledge, but he has his scientific advisors, and those advisors are people who have made millions out of this silliness, and they're not giving up.
John Coleman, iconic Chicago weatherman, the co-founder of the Weather Channel, and, of course, affiliated with the Heartland Institute that he just talked about persuasively.
Well, I'm a friend of theirs. Don't
friend.
Understand now. I don't get any money from them or anything of that sort.
I don't either. Okay.
A proponent.
What are we going to do to straighten out Tom Skelly?
Well,
when he was in 8th grade, Tom was my weather observer in Aurora. Really? He's a great young man, and now he's grown up to be the most highly paid weathercaster on the face of the earth. Mm-hmm. And I just cannot get him to come around and understand the silliness of the science that he continues to back. You guys got to work on Tom. He's just down the street from you.
I
Go
know.
down there and bang on his door.
Well, we'll try, but I mean, if John Coleman can't get to him, what chance do we have, John? I mean, really.
Well, He used to come to parties at my house with a roll of weather maps.
That's how he travels.
Yeah, that's why he's the life of the party. He is known to be the life of the party.
But we got to work on Tom. But the rest of us have long since realized how silly this whole folly about carbon dioxide being a pollutant. Are you kidding me? It's essential to life.
It's plant
carbon
food.
dioxide causing global warming? Not a chance.
All right, John Coleman, thanks for getting our heads out of the clouds and planting our feet firmly on the ground. John Coleman, we appreciate you joining us again.
Well, it's always great. Hi to everybody out in the super boonies. My love to everybody in Chicago, my favorite town.
And we love you. Thanks so much, John Coleman. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Plenty of snow to greet you. 3 inches in McHenry County, half an inch at Midway. And we're not done yet. We're going to have light flurries this afternoon, a high of 38 degrees. Then tomorrow, partly sunny skies, warmer, a high of 41. A busy man this morning is Jim Telemonte. Give it to us easy, Jim.
All right, we'll try, Amy. There's a little improvement on the Kennedy. It's only an hour and 21 minutes now from O'Hare to downtown. The express lanes will save 20 minutes at this moment. Outbound, it's an hour downtown to O'Hare. The Edens is 41 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 47. The Eisenhower, an hour and 24 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound an hour and 5 minutes. Down Stevenson, an hour and 20 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 44 minutes. The Ryan, 40 minutes, 95th to downtown. Lakeshore Drive, southbound, it's a mess from Bryn Mawr to North Avenue. 45 minutes, Hollywood to Monroe. The northbound delays are from Oakwood to Jackson. Tollways slowly improving a bit. The Tri-State still stop and go from the Cal-Sag Bridge to 31st. The Reagan Tollway much of the way to the Adams Tollway. There are some southbound delays. 132 to 176 from the Adams Tollway to Grand Avenue. The other tollway still relatively heavy. Again, we're seeing a little movement. I'm Jim Talamonte, ChicagoRadioDeals.com, Traffic Center.
Take a quick look in the mirror. See those bags under your eyes? Imagine them gone. Well, you can get rid of those bags and puffiness under your eyes just in time for the holiday season. Simply use Genucel's plant stem cell therapy for bags and puffiness under the eyes. Rosa from New Jersey wrote, I felt the bags under my eyes firm up and the skin was glowing. Your product helped me to reduce the puffiness quickly. In a couple of weeks, I stopped using concealer because of the improvement. Actually, I've gone a week now without applying heavy makeup. I would recommend this product to anyone. And with its instant effects, you'll see results in the first 12 hours guaranteed or your money back. So order Genucel now and this holiday season. And if you do so, you'll also get the legendary Esotique face cream as a free gift. Call 800-525-8323. That's 800-525-8323. Call now. And express holiday shipping is also free. 800-525-8323. Give the gift of youth this holiday season. 800-525-8323.
My name is David Hochberg, and I'm Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. That's right, I'm now Vice President of Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. I'm the same guy that's provided listeners with honest advice and outstanding customer service for the past 13 years. The only thing that's changed is where I work. When you wanted to purchase a home after filing bankruptcy or when your home was foreclosed, you called me and I helped you. When you tried to purchase a home you couldn't afford, you called me and I advised you to purchase a less expensive home. If you want to talk with me about a mortgage, please give me a call at 312-751-1333. That's 312-751-1333. Email David at perldavid.com. That's David at perldavid.com. Or visit my website, am560david.com. 312-751-1333. Pearl Mortgage is an equal housing lender, Illinois residential mortgage licensee, 4358, licensed by DBO under California RMLA and MLS 19186. PearlMortgage.com licensing.
Slow down, step back in time, and spend the night at the Schuster Mansion in Milwaukee, where history and tradition come together. The Schuster Mansion is not just a bed and breakfast. It's a private retreat created for you to rest, relax, and enjoy. Each guest room has been lovingly curated with period furniture, romantic decor, and antiques. There's a modern private bath for every room. Whether you're celebrating a special event or just want to escape from the everyday bustle, the Schuster Mansion has just the room or suite to fit your mood. Each overnight stay includes a homemade breakfast in the Victorian dining room and fresh chocolate chip cookies any time of day. Be sure to reserve a seat at the table for high tea, featuring a buffet of flavored teas and a variety of savory scones and sweets. Call Laura Sue to make a reservation at 414-342-3210. 414-342-3210. It may be Wisconsin, but why stay in a cabin when you can stay in a castle? SchusterMansion.com.
Coming up next, it's me, Mike Gallagher, right after Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560, The Answer.
Amy Jacobson, Dan Proft here, and once again, AM 560 is partnered with Feed the Children to help raise money for those in need. We have a number of shelters and food pantries around my house, and I donate a lot of my time and see the look on people's faces and the kids' faces when they're able to get a box of food.
Nice humble brag.
No, well, and also, too, when they can get, personal items such as toiletries, cleaning supplies for their house, deodorant for themselves, sometimes makeup they throw in the box, and it's all thanks to Feed the Children. And to continue this holiday season and to reach our goal of feeding and helping 18,000 children, we want you to help. We're asking for a one-time donation of $76 to feed 16 hungry children. You could do that by calling 866-435-2248 or visit 560theanswer.com, search for the keyword feed. But we also have a great offer for those interested in becoming business benefactors.
Yeah, the Business Benefactor Program, which is similar to what we did, the golf outing over the summer, where we got businesses involved, successful small, medium-sized business owners, people who are in the marketing of a business. We got them involved to, frankly, raise funds to support local military families through Operation Support Our Troops, Deb Rickards Group. Well, so here's another good nonprofit that focuses on alleviating hunger and helping those that need help, particularly during the holidays, seems appropriate. So our Business Benefactor Program is this. Any business that makes a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Feed the Children will receive 40 60-second commercials that run Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., so the meat of the broadcasting day, right here on AM 560 The Answer. So for a business that wants to be involved in this program, all you do is call sales manager Michael Mann. Thank him for giving us Heat, which is one of the best movies of the last 25 years. And
different Michael Mann.
847-871-1527 is his number. And you just ask him about the Business Benefactor Program, and he'll get you rolled in. Or you can text the word FEED to our Turnkey.Pro text line, 64636, and you'll be prompted to enroll.
I mean, you'll want to be an advertiser on this station in 2016. Think about it. Everybody's talking about the election, and we're the only station in town talking politics all day, every day. So, again, I urge you to call Michael Mann directly, 847-871-1527. 40 60-second commercials, our way of saying thanks for making that $2,500 tax-deductible donation. You'll help the needy as well as helping your business get noticed. Plus, Dan and I, well, we can voice your commercials if you'd like. Michael Mann, call him now, 847-871-1527.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Our event is going well. I just wish they wouldn't have used the plastic tablecloths.
The food looks like it's been under the heat lamp for an hour.
I can't believe they didn't have room to seat the accounting department at the last minute.
When you plan a corporate event, wedding, or social gathering, you have that picture-perfect image in your head of what it's supposed to look like. At Belvedere Banquets, they bring the shining elegance you expect to see downtown right to the suburbs. From their photogenic lobby fountain to their 5-star quality food options, Belvedere Banquets has your next big event covered in shimmering excellence. They can even bring their top-notch catering right to you. It's time to host an event that leaves everyone in awe at a price that can accommodate budgets for groups of 12 to 1,000. Call 847-534-0600 or visit their beautiful website at belvederebanquets.com. Get the positive event planning experience you deserve for your next occasion. 847-534-0600 or belvederebanquets.com.
I love MyPillow. I love MyPillow. I'm addicted to it. I can't live without it. Neither can our good friend Chuck, who's an avid AM 560 The Answer listener and MyPillow user.
Well, I got to tell you, I was skeptical at first listening to all the commercials. And when I received the pillow, took it out of the package, tried it the first night, put my head down, and I was asleep instantly. It's phenomenal.
So be like Chuck and get a pillow from MyPillow. Right now we have the buy one, get one free offer, so keep one for yourself and give one as a gift. There is nothing more important than a great night's sleep. American Made, the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation. And for the MyPillow buy one, get one free offer and 60-day full money-back guarantee. Visit MyPillow.com, type Amy in the promo code, or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
A holiday event for the whole family. Celebrate the holidays with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra's Merry Merry Chicago from December 18th through the 23rd at Symphony Center. Join the merry musicians of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra for this magical event, featuring special guests, the Von Trapps. This joyous celebration will include treasured carols, sing-along holiday favorites, including Christmas in Chicago, and a visit by a very special guest from the North Pole. Don't miss this holiday spectacular, December 18th through the 23rd at Symphony Center. For tickets, visit cso.org/holidays. That's cso.org/holidays.
I know you've heard the IRS has the right to freeze your assets, garnish your wages. Good news is they can also give you a way out called the Fresh Start Initiative, a tax debt compromise program designed to save you serious money. Optima is the nation's leading tax resolution firm. Over 300 professionals to help ensure you pay the minimum, not a penny more. Thousands call every month. You can call right now. Optima. That's Latin for cut me some slack.
Call 800-936-9033. 800-936-9033.
Optima Tax Relief.
Illinois deserves an honest analysis of the problems facing our state. Avoid the spin from the mainstream media and Springfield insiders by tuning in to Illinois Rising every Sunday at 3 p.m. AM 560's Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute tackle the policy and political issues that matter most and discuss possible solutions. So if you're sick of the status quo, then be sure to listen to Illinois Rising this Sunday at 3 p.m. on AM 560. The Answer.
Thanks so much for joining us, David Stripling, and an excellent technical director, and Cesar Perez, the executive producer.
Shake and bake.
And we'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the snow. And here now is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, snow affecting today's commute. Jim Talamonte is along with all the numbers in just a moment. Mayor Emanuel fires his police superintendent, and Minnesota clips the Blackhawks. WIND Chicago News Time, 9 o'clock.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. The battle to retake an ISIS stronghold underway in Iraq. Iraqi forces gunning for Ramadi, the capital of Anbar province, taken by ISIS in May. This as the prime minister defends Iraq's security forces, saying his country only needs advice and weapons training, not foreign combat forces. The U.S. preparing to send more special ops forces to Iraq.
A U.S. official tells Fox News that approximately 200 troops will be sent there within the next few weeks. The force will include intelligence personnel, aircraft pilots and mechanics, as well as a quick reaction force.
Fox's Garrett Tenney, Secretary of State John Kerry says Iraq was fully briefed on the plan. He's at a NATO headquarters meeting pushing for more support in the ISIS fight.
Yeah, I believe that, right.
Are indeed stepping up and considering
get them to
exactly what they will do.
Britain's parliament, meantime, having a 10-hour debate on airstrikes in Syria, something rejected.
That's fine. We can talk climate change with him. What about, let's get a presidential talker, I guess. I know we had that. We could have done it with Will, but there were other things. Okay. And then you got some black FOP dude?
Yeah, Dion Trotter.
Here's his name. Okay.
He's with the National Black Police Association, Cook County chapter.
Want me to reach out to him?
Yeah, I need that though. But
let me write it down.
What should we tease? I don't like what Ted Cruz said about most Democrats are criminals. I thought that was...
No, it's the other way around.
Most criminals are Democrats.
Yeah, it's true. I would say most. I'd say all.
No, I know one that's not.
There's not a single one. That's not a Democrat.
Yes.
They're all card-carrying Democrats.
No, they're not.
Every single one.
No, Drew Peterson's Republican.
Drew Peterson's not guilty. We relitigate the Drew Peterson case tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. He's a Republican. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
No, we're not teasing that.
Uh,
All right, yes? You ever seen a grown man naked?
Yes.
You ever been to the Nuevo Leon restaurant in Pilsen, the Mexican restaurant?
No. I've been in Nuevo
It burned down last night.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, I've been at it so many times. It's like
Greek kitchen fire?
Hey, Dan, can I call you right back?
Greek kitchen fire? Do they need
Thanks.
to remodel?
I don't know. It burned down last night.
It'll come back though.
What do you guys want, Deion Trotter? If I can get him more later or later or earlier? What are you thinking?
Yeah, whenever it works. What about Kim Fox or that other chick that's running? What's her name? Moore.
What did he say? I know,
Yeah,
a lot of
she
people like
is
her, too.
actually. It's funny we keep focused on Fox because she's political, but the other woman has
People like her.
more prosecutorial experience, I believe. Let's try and track one of those two down. And if not Kim Fox, then definitely the other one because she may need the pub more.
Jobs numbers guy for Friday.
Right.
Bayer hasn't confirmed yet, so we'll see if he's going to be joining us on Friday.
What shall we tease? Gary McCarthy, what's his next move?
He's yesterday's news. He's out.
No, what's his next? Who's going to replace or something? I'm just trying to think.
Oh, yeah.
I texted her and I emailed her. Well, it's still open. I think they were in processing it all yesterday.
Hey, Gary, you think you were kind of a douche?
Gary, when did you stop beating are you beating your current wife like you beat your last wife? What say you?
Yeah.
Well, it was called The Black. It's a restaurant in Niles, and that's in the parking lot. He smacked the crap out of her.
Hey, let me call you right back, okay? Thanks.